Chapter 1265. Boom, boom, boom. The heavenly emperor fused perfectly into the stone man's body. At the same time, mysterious Tao patterns appeared on the surface of the stone man, intertwining with dazzling divine light. One could see scrolls of the heavenly emperor's reign on the surface. Countless ancient scenes intertwined, and countless ancient citizens worshipped him devoutly. The Tao patterns on the stone man's body were compatible with heaven and earth, blending with the great Tao. An aura that was even more ancient and powerful than that of a half-step sovereign spread out from the stone man's body. The stone man was bathed in endless divine light. Vaguely, the stone man's body moved slightly, and the surrounding heaven and earth shook slightly. What's going on? What is that stone man? The heavenly emperor actually entered the stone man's body. Could he be related to the stone man? The heavenly realm, fusing with the purple-gold continent, attracted countless gazes. Even a large number of cultivators in the demon court focused their attention on the stone man. Needless to say, the monstrous power of faith was even more shocking. The appearance of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors made the entire world focus on the stone man. At this moment, seeing the changes, countless cultivators still cried out in surprise. They were extremely curious about the stone man. However, the changes did not end there. After the heavenly emperor, the earthly emperor moved as well. His entire body was shrouded in endless divine light. He followed the heavenly emperor's footsteps and appeared in front of the stone man. His entire body merged with the stone man. Immediately, more complex and mysterious Tao patterns intertwined on the stone man. There were scrolls of glory when the earthly emperor ruled the world. The monstrous power of faith continuously poured into the stone man. The stone man was like a bottomless pit. No matter how much power of faith there was, it would still devour it, leaving not a trace behind. There was no sign of it being full. The aura emitted from the stone man was even more ancient and heavy. His 10 fingers were constantly moving. It seemed that the stone man was slowly waking up. Rumble. Without any hesitation, the human sovereign entered the stone body as well. The surrounding void vibrated continuously, giving out terrifying rumbling sounds. Boundless power of faith turned into light rain, sprinkling in all directions. Bathed in the morning light rain, the illnesses in the bodies of countless living beings instantly disappeared, and all their injuries were healed. The blessings spread everywhere. Even more intense divine light enveloped the stone body. The Tao patterns became more and more ancient. Each of them seemed to carry the seal of the human clan since they were born. They carried the history of the human clan, which made them strangely mysterious. His entire body had turned golden, as if he was made of gold. It was exceptionally sacred. The 5 emperors did not hesitate. After the 3 sovereigns entered the stone bodies, they entered the stone bodies one after another. Every time a divine body was integrated into the stone man, the aura it exuded would become even more frightening, and the vitality it exuded would become even more overbearing. Countless divine lights appeared in the form of flames, as if they were constantly burning. He was being reborn from the flames. A vast poem of the history of civilization flowed on his body. It was as if this stone body was the beginning of human civilization, the origin of everything. This was the progenitor of the human race, the creator of the human race. As his body moved, the heavens and the earth shook. Whoosh! The stone body opened its eyes. 2 beams of golden divine light condensed and pierced the void, creating 2 terrifying black holes that extended into the chaos. Rumble. The stone man slowly stood up from the altar. In an instant, one could see a vast and boundless heavenly pillar of the great path soaring into the sky. It stood between the heavens and the earth. It was boundlessly tall and incomparably majestic. It was a great path of humanity that ran through the general outline of humanity. The great path was constantly evolving into a great path of humanity. Endless mysterious Tao patterns appeared in the void. One could vaguely see a huge net of heaven and earth's law. It wanted to bind the great path of humanity within the net of law. But the heavenly pillar broke through it without any hesitation and shot straight up. Bang! The stone man took a step forward. Countless divine lights turned into a rain of light and scattered down. The divine light on his body quickly retracted back into his body. Beneath his feet, the earth shook as if the entire world was shaking violently. Thousands of lightning bolts struck down as if they wanted to crush him into dust. However, they could not even touch his skin. It was as if they were just scratching an itch. Bang! 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 Every step he took was unusually steady. Every step he took, a portion of the divine light on his body would be retracted. After 9 steps, the divine light on his body was completely retracted, revealing his body. The original stone body quickly transformed into a burly body. Outside his body, there was an unknown bee skin draped over his body. Naturally, he exuded a barbaric and ancient aura. He looked extremely ancient. His face was as sharp as a knife. He exuded a resolute aura. His long black hair draped down to his waist. Every strand of hair was as heavy as the heavens and earth. As it fluttered in the wind, the void collapsed under his hair. With a body of 2 meters, it was abnormally tall and sturdy. Its muscles were surging like dragons. An intense aura of power surged out. Human Ancestor. The younger generation of the human race greets the human ancestor. Long live the human ancestor. Long live the human race. Countless human beings felt a strong impulse in their bloodlines. Even though they had never seen him before, they couldn't help but kneel down and kowtow to that magnificent figure, letting out excited shouts and worshiping sounds. It's the human ancestor. The human ancestor has revived. The human ancestor has finally awakened. We humans are not afraid of the demon race. You demons have the demon emperor, but we humans have the human ancestor. Tai Yongchang. Tai Yongchang. A large number of human cultivators understood the identity of the figure in front of them through their blood. They all shouted in unison. The pressure that Dishur Tian had exerted on them seemed to disperse in an instant. When such shouts reached the demon court, the all-heavens cultivators were so shocked that they could not close their mouths. Their hearts were filled with horror. What? The human ancestor? How is that possible? The human ancestor really exists. Legend has it that in ancient times, there was a rumor among the humans that the human ancestor was the source of the human race's birth. The human ancestor was a supreme divine stone between heaven and earth. He absorbed the endless divine light of heaven and earth, and a divine fetus was born from the stone. There was heaven and earth. He was born with a born Taoism aptitude. He called himself the result of the 3 powers of man, heaven, earth, and man. I thought it was just a legend, but I didn't expect it to be true. The human ancestor really exists. Legend has it that the human race was formed from the divine blood in the human ancestor's body, combined with the 5-colored divine earth. Therefore, the human body is divided into 5 elements. Yin and yang are combined, and they reproduce. They are endless. This is all true. The human ancestor exists, and the history of the human race's birth exists. Just now, the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors all entered the human ancestor's body. Could it be that the human ancestor transformed them? What a terrifying pressure. How strong is the human ancestor? I feel that he is not inferior to the demon emperor at all. Could he be a ruler too? Countless cultivators sucked in a breath of cold air. The scene before their eyes was completely shocked. This was a secret from ancient times, but it was completely revealed in front of them. But what was truly terrifying was the human ancestor's strength. No one would have thought that the human race would have such a terrifying trump card. It was an existence like a great killing machine. Bang, bang, bang. The human ancestor didn't stay among the humans. Instead, he stepped in a void and headed straight for the demon court. Every step he took caused ripples to appear in the void. Be on guard. Heavenly King Nantian stood guard in front of the southern heaven gate. He saw the human ancestor striding toward him and said calmly. Instantly, groups of blood-kill guards appeared in front of the heaven gate. Pairs of eyes stared at the human ancestor. As he approached, waves of killing intent surged out like they were corporeal. Human ancestor, our demon court does not welcome humans. Please return. Otherwise, those who trespass into the heaven gate will be killed without mercy. The minister of rites, Tai Jinxing, saw the human ancestor approaching. His expression was solemn, but he still showed the majestic aura of the demon race and dared to talk to him directly. The dignity of the demon race was indomitable. Kill! 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 The blood kill guard shouted and took 3 steps forward. The killing intent on their bodies condensed, and they were ready to use their strongest killing move at any time. When the human ancestor heard this, he didn't stop moving forward. A pair of simple eyes fell on the blood kill guards. An invisible attack instantly collided. Rumble! The void around the blood kill guards shook violently. Terrifying cracks appeared out of nowhere on their bodies. In the blink of an eye, they covered their entire bodies. They looked like broken ceramics. They looked abnormally terrifying and showed signs of collapsing at any time. In just a glance, there was great power. Human ancestor, do you want to fight with me? In the demon court, a voice with boundless emperor's aura rolled out. Every word condensed into a physical form and turned into a seal that suppressed the human ancestor. Break! The human ancestor's black hair danced wildly behind his head. For the first time, he said a word. A sharp force instantly collided. The void shook and was annihilated at the same time. However, the human ancestor's monstrous aura seemed to be stopped for a moment. However, the air completely froze as if a great battle was about to begin. Rumble! At this moment, the space distorted. A white figure appeared out of nowhere and blocked in front of the human ancestor. A majestic pressure stopped the battle intent from colliding. Shifter Emperor, human ancestor, listen to this old man. Today is not the day to fight. Since it's your big day, it's naturally not a good time to fight. Let's put it aside for now. The newcomer was the space dominator. Human ancestor, since you're here, let's meet in the city. The fate dominator calmly walked out of the vast river of fate and said slowly, Shifter Emperor, yours truly is here. Don't hide those good wines of yours. Take them all out. Today, I'm going to drink to my heart's content. The demon master with a domineering aura appeared. The moment he appeared, he opened his mouth and roared. Clearly, the 3 rulers are trying to smooth things over. They didn't want a great battle to break out. The 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors don't have to be so serious. I'm writing about the purple gold continent, not Huasha mythology. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1266. The 3 sovereigns clearly did not want to see D. Shurtion and the human ancestor go to war. After all, the war with the demon god continent was just around the corner. The current war would only deplete the overall strength of the purple and gold continent, so they had no choice but to mediate. In order to prevent the situation from escalating to a point of no return, they were all too aware of the temperament of demon emperors who cultivated the Emperor Tao. When they caused a ruckus, they would be fearless. Since the 3 sovereigns are here, human ancestor, please come in as well. I'll be waiting at the Jade Pool. Dishurtian's voice rang out again. He did not even bother to invite the human ancestor in, and he spoke as if he was giving alms. The human ancestor frowned slightly and snorted coldly, but he did not turn to leave. Behind him, 4 rays of light came from afar and appeared behind the human ancestor. They said respectfully, Taishu, Xuanji, Haoran, and Xuanxin pay our respects to the human ancestor. Follow me in, the human ancestor said curtly. He walked into the demon court, and the 3 sovereigns of fate followed him in. A purple and gold path laid out beneath their feet, with heavenly music and purple chi coming from the east, led directly to the Jade Pool. The 4 Tao ancestors of the human race have also come. In this world, only the human ancestor has such great prestige to gather them and make them so respectful. I wonder what kind of sparks will fly from the clash between the demon race and the human race. It's a pity that even the weakest cultivator in this gathering is an ancient demon god. We have no right to participate at all. Otherwise, we might be able to witness an epic event in the world. Some cultivators let out sighs of admiration and discussions. The 4 Tao ancestors just now were the Great Void Tao Ancestor, the 4 Stars Tao Ancestor, Haren Tao Ancestor, and Xuanqing Tao Ancestor of the 6 Tao Ancestors of the human race. They had founded the Great Void Sect, the Heaven's Secret Sect, the Xuanqing Orthodox Sect, and the Righteous Sect, respectively. The 4 Stars Tao Ancestor was very unique. She would reincarnate every once in a while, and every time she returned, her cultivation would undergo a metamorphosis. Every time she reincarnated, she would reappear as the 4 Stars Tao Ancestor and become the saintess of the Heaven's Secret Sect. In the Jade Pool, countless strange flowers adorned it, and the stars in the sky served as lamps. The beautiful palace maids danced gracefully and gracefully. The banquet was held on top of the Jade Pool. Inside the Jade Pool, blue waves danced and lotus flowers bloomed. The palace maids were barefooted. They stepped on the lotus leaves and danced like lotus fairies. It was very tempting. Banquet after banquet had already been set up. At the very top, the main seat was naturally D-Shirtian's. On both sides, there were 3 purple gold chairs, which were at the same height as D-Shirtian's. Obviously, it was to show that they were of the same status. Below, there was a table placed on the ground. The primogenitors of the various races had already taken their seats, using the ancient custom of having 1 seat per person. Every table was filled with delicious wine and delicacies, as well as spirit herbs and spirit fruits. Bursts of exotic fragrance filled the air above the Jade Lake. In the blink of an eye, the 3 hegemons and the human ancestor arrived at the Nacre Lake. The leader of the Green Phoenix Swordsmen, Qing Xia, was instructing the women to arrange their seats. Upon seeing them arrive, he stepped forward and said, "Sovereign of Fate, please take a seat." He began to arrange. The Sovereign of Fate sat in the first seat. Then, the Sovereign of Space and the Demon Master filled the 3 golden chairs on the spot. Only the human ancestor did not have a seat. It seemed to be hinting that the human ancestor did not have the right to sit on that golden chair. Oomph. Shifter Emperor, don't go too far. Tao Ancestor, Hao Rant's face showed a hint of anger. The 3 sovereigns were of the same status and realm as the human ancestor, but they were treated in such a manner. This was an undisguised humiliation. Whoosh! At this moment, a purple gold divine light fell from the main seat. Within the divine light, an aura of supremacy surged into the sky. It was as if the entire world revolved around him, and he was sitting on top of all things. D-Shirtian's face was dignified without being angry. He met the human ancestor's eyes and said slowly, "Human ancestor, you came too suddenly. I did not prepare a seat for you." This was an undisguised humiliation. The human ancestor came to the Jade Lake and did not even have a seat. This was a resounding slap to the face. The 4 Tao ancestors' faces were filled with anger. "Today, I'm not here to congratulate you. So what if I don't have a seat? I only have one purpose for coming here." The human ancestor glanced at the Jade Lake. He did not seem to be angry as he spoke. "Oh." Sakura spat out a word without any change in expression. "This time, the human ancestor is here to ask you one thing. Shifter Emperor." Tao Ancestor Hao Ran said righteously, "The annihilation tide is coming. The demon god's invasion is right before our eyes. I wonder if the demon race dares to fight the demon god again." His voice was filled with righteousness. It seemed to carry the boundless power of heaven and earth and righteousness. He stood on the high ground of reason. However, in the face of Tao Ancestor Hao Rant's question, D-Shirtian sat on the throne and did not have any intention of answering. He did not even look at him. He did not even bother to talk. They were not on the same level, so he did not have the right to talk. Whether they dare or not, it should be clear from the battle in the ancient times. At this moment, ministers would step forward and said with a cold smile, "Very well. When is the demon race going to fight? How many demon gods are they going to send?" Tao Ancestor Xuanxin asked immediately. It was as if he was going to kill them directly. Fight! Right Minister Meng Shi stepped forward. The corners of her mouth pulled into a charming arc. She slowly shook her head and said, "When did the demon race say that we are going to fight? Could it be that the demon race is not willing to resist the invasion of the demon god? Could it be that the demon race intends to disregard the kindness of heaven and earth and betray the purple gold mainland to join the demon god? Or are you preparing to backstab us when we are resisting the demon god?" The celestial maiden of the 4 stars sect immediately pressed down on them. She wanted to directly suppress the demon race with the power of heaven and earth and force them to step into the trap they had predicted. Although there was no bloody light, each sentence was filled with a kind of austere air. It was a battle of words and full of wit. Many progenitors didn't say anything. They just watched silently. In such a situation, any words could affect the rise and fall of a race. It was easier to make an undefeatable enemy. Thus, they all displayed the style of silence. Backstab? That is a characteristic of you humans. The demon race is ashamed to be associated with you. Who sneered disdainfully. Speaking of the kindness of heaven and earth, the demon race has already repaid it in the ancient times with the blood of countless ancestors of the demon race. In the ancient times, the heavenly Tao did not protect the demon race and allowed us to decline. This kindness has already been repaid. So what is there to owe? Heaven and earth have no right to question us, and the thousands of races in the universe have no right to do so, because we have repaid with our blood. The peace of all beings in the universe has been built on our corpses, and the human race has even less right to do so. Every word was powerful and resonant, and it directly knocked on the mind of every expert. Many ancestors could not help but reveal a strange expression. Since the human race wants to be the main character of this world, then you should have been prepared. Since you want to be the main character, you should have taken on the responsibility of protecting the purple gold mainland. Now, you want the demon race to help you resist the demon god. How laughable. Extremely laughable. Again, the demon race does not owe anyone anything. This war is a matter of the human race, and the demon race will not participate in it. Meng Shi added, "What was the momentum of heaven and earth to the demon race, since the heaven and earth did not care for them? Why should they care for the heaven and earth? So what if they did not participate? No one in the world had the right to criticize them. Righteousness? What the hell was righteousness? That was the righteousness of others, not the demon races. Why bother? Very well, let's go." The human ancestor's gaze was fixed on Di Shirtian, as if they were engaged in some kind of terrifying confrontation. When the conversation ended, he spat out a sentence and said nothing more. He turned and left. The thoughts of the human race were clearly useless against the demon race. As the saying goes, one can be strong without desires, and one can be firm without demands. No matter what you say, none of it will land on me. The human ancestor led the 4 Tao masters away, and no one stopped him. The Fate Master, the Space Master, and the Demon Master exchanged a glance and saw a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes. However, they could not say anything to blame the demon race. Some things in the ancient times had truly gone too far. Today's situation was caused by the karma of the past. They could not blame the demon race. Everyone, at this moment, Di Shirtian picked up the wine goblet in front of him and said calmly, "Today is the celebration of my ascension to sovereign. Since you are all here, you are my honored guests. Let's drink and watch the annihilation tide. Please." With that, the wine goblet gestured to the 3 sovereigns and then nodded to the many primogenitors. He raised his hand and drank the fine wine in one gulp. "Congratulations, Your Majesty, on your ascension to sovereign. From now on, you will be free and unfettered, immortal and indestructible." The crowd of cultivators raised their wine cups and saluted Sakura from afar, congratulating him in unison. They drank the divine wine together. Whoosh! After finishing the wine, Di Shirtian waved his long sleeve. Immediately, A huge ancient mirror appeared in the sky above the jade pool. A ripple flashed in the mirror, and a clear image appeared. What appeared in the mirror was a boundless sea. The color of the sea was a strange, chaotic color. It was boundless, and countless undercurrents surged within it. As they slammed into each other, waves that were hundreds and thousands of meters high rose up from the ground. They let out a terrifying roar. The waves came one after another, and each wave was even greater than the previous one. Rumble. Every moment, a shocking change was happening. A terrifying tsunami was brewing. This is the chaotic ocean. It's the sign of the annihilation tide. This thought appeared in the minds of all the primogenitors. Then, they all stared seriously at the mirror, wanting to remember every single change of the tide. One wave, after another, seemed to have accumulated to a critical point. It exploded with a bang. A wave of billions of feet high rose from the ground like a real tsunami. It swept wildly in all directions with earth-shattering force. Everywhere it went, everything was reduced to dust. The primordial god-fiends who did not have time to dodge were swept into the tide and silently annihilated. A vast purple-gold continent appeared in the ancient mirror. An invisible barrier separated the continent from the ocean. At the edge of the continent, bubbles formed one after another. One could vaguely see that each bubble was a huge world. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1267. That's the 10,000 worlds. The hearts of the various experts were extremely clear. They were all existences that stood at the peak of the world. They were extremely clear about the world. When they saw the scene, they understood that those were the greater kiliacosms and lesser kiliacosms created by the various experts of the violet gold continent. These worlds could not exist alone in the chaos. They could only rely on the great path laws of the purple gold mainland to achieve the goal of not being annihilated by the chaos. Looking at those large and small worlds, they were densely packed and distributed in every corner of the purple gold mainland. At a glance, it was as if beautiful mountains and rivers were imprinted on the purple gold mainland. Rumble. A terrifying tidal wave roared and swept across the entire Zijin continent. That overwhelming scene was like a mortal facing a tsunami. A strong sense of paleness and helplessness flashed across. The annihilation tide came so quickly. This time is indeed different from the past. It came quickly and fiercely. It seems like this is the sign of the impending catastrophe. The space dominus frowned slightly and muttered to himself. The monstrous tide did not provide any buffer time at all and directly pounced on the purple gold mainland. Boom, boom, boom. The purple gold mainland was like a small boat in the middle of a vast ocean. On the spot, there was a violent roar. Heaven and earth became pitch black. Bright pillars of the great path rose straight into the sky, supporting the entire world. Countless chains of laws intertwined to form a net that enveloped heaven and earth, forming a barrier between heaven and earth. It firmly resisted the annihilation tide that poured down. It was like a divine needle that stabilized the sea. It stabilized heaven and earth. However, that kind of insignificance was clearly imprinted in the souls of every living creature. Demon Master, this 9 Heavens Fairy wine is brewed from 9 types of rare spiritual fruits. Usually, even I have a hard time tasting it. Today, I am able to witness the annihilation tide and enjoy the passing of time. Such a blessing. Let's drink together. Di Shirtian sat on the throne and watched the spectacular scene of the annihilation tide while raising his cup to invite the Demon Master to drink. Great! The Demon Master laughed heartily. They raised their glasses and drank together. In the ancient mirror, one could clearly see that the purple gold continent was like a boulder standing in the middle of the tide. However, the heavens and realms that were attached to the continent were like snowflakes in the summer. They were destroyed with a loud bang, and the barriers between the heavens and earth collapsed. All life within them instantly turned into nothingness, disappearing without a trace. However, the purple gold mainland also displayed its strength at this moment. Under the crushing of the tides, the shattered greater thousand worlds drilled into the mainland and connected with the borders of the mainland. With a loud rumble, they merged with the purple gold mainland and became a part of the mainland. It caused the continent to expand outwards. Once they merged, the 3,000 great daos of the purple gold mainland immediately protected them. It was not affected by the erosion of the tides. Boom, boom. One by one, the greater thousand worlds were crushed by the tides and turned into fragments, completely merging with the purple gold land. There was not a single greater thousand world that could withstand the tide. In some of the worlds, there were still some living beings. These living beings didn't even have time to scream before they were annihilated. Not a single living being could withstand it. In the ancient mirror, one could only see those greater thousand worlds exploding and shattering like fireworks. They melted like bubbles. In the jade pool, after seeing this, the expressions of many experts changed completely. A deep sense of fear and insignificance grew in them. They asked themselves if they were in there, they would probably be annihilated along with everything inside. They would turn into dust and completely cease to exist. Even in the river of fate and the river of time, no traces of them could be found. Boom, boom. In the blink of an eye, the countless worlds attached to the purple gold mainland completely turned into nothingness. The entire purple gold mainland merged with the heavens and realms in a short period of time and expanded by 1/3. On the mainland, there were many sceneries and areas that had never existed before. In the mainland, the ancestral veins were constantly surging. They were wantonly absorbing the endless chaotic energy from the chaos. They were converted into pure, connate vital chi and poured into the heavens and earth. Immediately, he could feel that the original Hotian Yuan chi on the violet gold mainland was transforming at an astonishing speed. Waves after waves of Xiantian Yuan chi gushed in, transforming from Hotian to Xiantian. Moreover, it was rapidly growing, transforming from thin Xiantian Yuan chi to rich Xiantian Yuan chi. Spiritual herbs of the heavens and earth that only existed in the ancient age were being born. The entire world was returning to the ancient age. Although the creation of the heavens and realms made the heavens and earth prosperous, it caused the purple gold mainland to decline. Now that the heavens and realms have been annihilated and returned to one, the purple gold mainland is finally returning to its original appearance. It won't be long before the mainland returns to the ancient age. The space dominus sighed. He raised his cup and drank a cup of divine wine. The creation of the heavens and realms was dependent on the purple gold mainland to absorb nutrients from the mainland and plunder most of the vital chi. The more worlds were created, the thinner the vital chi on the mainland. It was a pity that the vital chi had transformed into acquired vital chi. At this moment, it was truly beginning to return to its original appearance. Ha ha! I've broken through. What dense heaven and earth vital chi. Heavenly tribulation. My heavenly tribulation is here. After transforming from acquired to innate, the shackles on his body were completely removed. Many cultivators who had grown up on the mainland felt that the laws of heaven and earth were so clear. They directly devoured the vital chi and broke through one after another. They all welcomed the heavenly tribulation. Apparently, with the beginning of the return to the ancient age, the strength of the entire mainland would begin to erupt at an astonishing speed. All the savings of the past would erupt completely. Withered trees would come back to life in spring, stagnant water would turn into a spring, and green trees would form a shade. Clear spring water gushed out of the ground. All kinds of strange phenomena appeared one after another. It was as if the entire purple gold mainland was recovering its vitality and returning to the boundless prosperity of the ancient times. The dense connate vital chi directly caused many birds, beasts, flowers, and trees on the mainland to develop intelligence at an astonishing speed and open their spiritual cavities. They transformed into demons. Moreover, the number was astonishing. Witnessing this scene, many of the demon court's ministers sneered. In the ancient times, the creation of the heavens and realms had thinned out the vital chi of the entire world. Without a doubt, it had caused the number of demons to sharply decrease. Every time they gained intelligence, it would take thousands of years. As a result, the number of demons could not increase. This was a vicious plan to kill them all. When the primogenitors saw this, there was a trace of undetectable awkwardness on their faces. The annihilation tide came abnormally fiercely, so much so that the entire void was trembling violently. It seemed like it would collapse at any time. A terrifying aura pressed down on every living being. They could clearly feel the destructive aura. The tide surged violently, causing their hearts to waver. Everywhere it passed, everything was annihilated. As for the tide, it came quickly and left quickly. When the entire tide rolled over the purple gold land, the primal chaos ocean that had become calm slowly began to calm down. Pieces of seawater slowly turned into gas and rose up, gradually condensing into primal chaos chi. Whoosh! A purple gold rainbow suddenly broke through the sky from the demon god mainland. With a bang, it pierced through the chaos and appeared above the purple gold mainland. It descended, forming a purple gold divine bridge that connected the two mainlands. This divine bridge seemed to be able to stabilize the chaos chi and suppress it. No chaos chi could get close to the divine bridge. Once it got close, it would be imprisoned. The divine bridge was vast and boundless. No one knew how many cultivators could pass through it at the same time, as if there was no limit. It has indeed appeared. The annihilation tide can stimulate the origin. The purple gold mainland and the demon god mainland have the same origin. Once the annihilation tide passes, it will immediately form a divine bridge of heaven and earth, piercing through the chaos and connecting the two mainlands. This will allow the experts of the two mainlands to travel freely, the Space Dominator said solemnly. The demon god mainland has been unable to invade on a large scale because ordinary demon gods are unable to travel through the chaos. With the divine bridge of heaven and earth as a path, the demon army of the demon god mainland will definitely arrive in the shortest time possible. The war is just around the corner. Seeing the divine bridge of heaven and earth, the entire Jade Pool banquet was shrouded in an indescribable solemnity and pressure. This was the heaviness of the impending war. Shifter Emperor, thank you for your hospitality. However, we have to go back and prepare for the impending war. If we don't die in the future, we will pay a visit. The Lord of the Blood Sea suddenly stood up and said heroically, his blood-red hair dancing in the wind. That's right. Thank you for your hospitality, your majesty. This banquet is really good for our departure. In the future, we will have a good battle with those demons on the battlefield. Let's see who will rise and fall. The star Ancestor also spat out a sentence full of determination. This is a toast to everyone's departure. Tion raised his cup from afar and said calmly. In his voice, there was no intention of leading the demon race to participate in the war. It was as if he really intended to stay out of it and watch with folded arms. Many experts said their goodbyes one after another. This war was a war between races. There was no right or wrong, only success or failure. None of them could stay out of it. It was impossible for them to leave the purple gold mainland. This was the foundation of everything. If the mainland was invaded by the demon gods, they would be completely annihilated. The consequences of having their entire race wiped out left them with no way out. Fight. Fight to the death with no regard for anything. This was the only way out. In the blink of an eye, the experts of various races left one after another. The banquet gradually came to an end. Only the three hegemons remained seated. The demon master looked deeply at Tion and said slowly, Shifter Emperor, no matter what, I hope to see you on the battlefield. This war may not only involve the demon gods, but also the primordial god fiends. This is a true battle of life and death. Perhaps I will fall. Perhaps all three of us will fall. However, you're right. You demon race don't owe anyone. Any cultivator. What you do is up to you. See you on the battlefield, the ruler of fate said inexplicably. Without lingering, the three rulers left at the same time. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come Achidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1268. This is the final battle. Brothers, let's fight together. This is the final madness. Tion watched as the guests left. He raised the wine bottle in his hand and drained it in one gulp. He then looked at the ancient mirror in the sky and said, Qing Xia, invite the Empress Dowager, the Yao Yu Saintess, the Demon Empress, the Demon Concubine, the Imperial Prince, the Princess, and the eldest princess to come to the banquet. Remove the banquet and prepare another table with peaches and spirit fruits. He calmly ordered, but his voice naturally contained a kind of emperor's prestige that could not be disobeyed. Yes, your majesty. Qing Xia bowed respectfully and left quickly. Left Prime Minister. Tion looked at who? Your humble servant is here. You will be the leader of the civil officials. This time, when the demons return, you will be in charge of compiling the name list and issuing the Ling Xiao card. Arrange a place to stay. Select talents and send them into the 129,600 planes to transmit information through the Tianji Treasure Archive. He was in charge of government affairs. All kinds of war materials must be in place. Medicinal pills, weapons, armor, everything must be prepared. Tion said in a deep voice. Yes, your majesty, who accepted the order with a solemn expression. Right, minister. This humble subject is here. How about the armaments? Your majesty, your humble servant has already established the Grand Council to oversee the war. The Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, White Tiger, and Chilan legions of the Demon Court have been continuously expanding. Each legion now has 9 million soldiers, and every soldier has cultivated the Heavenly Soldier Battle Art and the Heavenly General Battle Art. These two battle arts can be mastered quickly, and there are no hidden dangers. Every demon soldier in each legion has ascended to the peak of the ancient demon saint realm, while the war generals have the cultivation of ancient demons. The commanders have spared no expense and expended large amounts of resources to break through to the realm of ancient demon gods. As long as there was a huge battle, the 5 legions would definitely be able to advance to the ancient Skyfae realm, traversing the myriad of worlds. As the right chief minister, Mengshi was in charge of military affairs. After obtaining the war god's treasure mirror, she directly allowed the troops in the demon court to have a unified cultivation technique. The key was that it could be learned quickly, causing the overall combat strength to increase by leaps and bounds. Almost the entire army would enter the ranks of the ancient heavenly demons. This was not a small number. If they advanced, it would mean that 45 million demon soldiers would become heavenly demons. It was an unprecedented grand occasion. Sakura listened attentively and didn't open his mouth to interrupt. Mengshi continued, the Heaven's Punishment Legion, the Universe's Chaos Legion, the Heaven, Earth, Xian, and Yellow Legions. Each legion has a full complement of 3 million soldiers, a total of 24 million. Their cultivation bases are similar to the 5 legions. It possessed the 8 formation diagram. If we unleash our full power, even if a peerless expert were to enter, they would still be buried within. The 12 Zodiac legions are gradually taking shape with the return of the various clans. However, they only have 500,000 soldiers each. There are a total of 6 million soldiers with similar cultivation bases. With the 12 Zodiac Grand Formation, their combat strength is not inferior to the other armies. And the strongest is the Blood Massacre Legion that your majesty established. There are 10 million of them. They are led by one of the 6 royals, the Blood Massacre Emperor, Blood Dove. I have no right to mobilize them, but I still know some of the details. After the Blood Massacre Emperor, Blood Dove, obtained the body, the power that he had accumulated for countless years exploded. At this moment, he has already advanced to half-step sovereign. Some of the Blood Massacre generals have also begun to break through. 30 of them have already advanced to Peerless Realm. After a single battle, it was possible for all 1,000 of the Blood Massacre generals to break through. The other Blood Massacre guards have also improved. Mengshi spoke leisurely and finally said, "Your Majesty, these are the specific numbers that I have calculated. The various armies are already prepared for the battle. As long as the Emperor's decree is issued, they will immediately go out and kill the enemy. Show the might of the demon court. Good. Go and prepare the army for battle. This might be the last battle of the demon race. Embark on a glorious battle." Although Di Shurdian had long understood the strength of the demon court, he could not help but nod when he heard the overall numbers. This was a strong army that he had raised single-handedly. Although the overall strength was not too large, it was close to 100 million. Moreover, they were all carefully selected elites who had gone through many tests. Each of them was an elite soldier who had been through hundreds of battles. They were elites who had crawled out of countless corpses. Even the weakest among them was an ancient demon saint, and they could break through at any time. After obtaining the war god's treasure mirror, the strength of the entire army had increased exponentially. Mengshi turned and left. Not long after, he saw the Empress Mother, who was dressed elegantly, arrive with Chun Shi and the others. Seeing the Empress Mother, Di Shurtian also knelt down respectfully to greet her. Those who came were all family members. There were not too many rules. They sat together. As they spoke, they ate spiritual fruits. Di Shurtian's eyes were gentle as he looked at each of his close relatives. He could not help but notice that Katomi and Su Tianxiang's faces were faintly shy and expectant. Xiner, Tianxiang, the 3 roles and 1 chart selection has ended, right? Di Shurtian smiled gently and suddenly said, "Yes." Su Tianxiang and Katomi looked at each other at the same time and nodded in agreement. "Ha!" Chunshi smiled and said, "Husband, you still don't know?" This time, not only has the 3 rankings and 1 chart ended, but the 2 sisters have also entered the beauty chart at the same time. Sister Tian Xiang is ranked 3rd and has the title of alluring demon concubine, which is spread throughout the heavens. As for Sister Qin Xin, she is ranked 9th and has been conferred the title of Heavenly Note Goddess. She is blessed by heaven and earth. There are so many peerless beauties in this world, and the competition for the beauty chart was extremely fierce. To be able to leave one's name on the beauty chart was something that countless beauties in the purple gold continent would go crazy for. Those who could enter the top 10 were the most beautiful beauties in the world. For both of them to enter the top 10 at the same time was something to be proud of. Speaking of the beauty chart, they naturally talked about the 3 roles in 1 chart. Not to mention the human role and earth role, but the heaven role. The competition was extremely fierce. Moreover, it seemed that there were restrictions, and the older generation did not participate in the competition, leaving it to the younger generation. In the fierce battle, a group of talented geniuses emerged, stepping on countless corpses, plundering cultivation, and breaking through one after another to become the new generation of kings. The heaven role was, first, the King of Destiny, Tai Xian; second, the reincarnated Heavenly Emperor, Tian Xian; third, the Mad Demon War King, Shura Zhantian; fourth, the Skeleton King, Ming Jiuyou; fifth, the Zombie King, Zai Jia. The sixth was a new force to be reckoned with, the Lord of Time, Zhong Yunfei. Rumor had it that his origin was extraordinary, and he was the reincarnation of an ancient great figure. Seventh, the Golden Beast King, Meng Tianqi. Eighth, the Little Thunder God, Lei Patian. Ninth, the Compassionate Travel Saintess, Meng Yao. 10th, the Heavenly Astral King, Xing He. Although there were dozens of others, compared to the first 10, they were far inferior. However, not all of the participants were participating in the competition. Of course, there was a considerable amount of exaggeration in these rankings. However, those who were able to occupy these rankings were naturally not ordinary people. Under the unique rules of the heaven-toppling ancient diagram, one would be able to obtain the essence of one's opponent after killing one's opponent. Thus, one's breakthrough would be incomparably fast. The beauty role was also not to be underestimated. First, the goddess of moon frost, Chang Xiaoa. Second, the nine heavens saintess. Third, Su Tianxiang. Fourth, the four stars heavenly maiden. Fifth, the celestial phoenix maiden. Sixth, the compassionate travel saintess, Meng Yao. Seventh, the fairy princess, Ming Zhu. Eighth, the holy maiden of a light, Qi Shi. Ninth, the heavenly sound goddess, Katomi. 10th, the 100 spirits fairy, Xueling. The top 10 holy maidens could be said to be the good fortune of the heavens. There was no difference between them, and each of them had an imposing aura, and each of them had a charm that could captivate all living things. Being able to have one of them in one's life was the target of countless cultivators' jealousy. After this conversation, Di Shurtian also had a certain understanding of the so-called 3 rankings in one chart. However, these rankings did not attract much attention in his eyes. It was just a smile. Tianxiang, Xner. I'll go over to your place tonight. Di Shurtian looked meaningfully at Katomi and Baihu. The meaning in his words was almost clear. A trace of shyness appeared on the faces of the two girls. Kill, kill, kill. At this moment, an image suddenly appeared on the ancient mirror hanging above the jade pool. The incomparably huge divine bridge of heaven and earth had already condensed and pierced through the chaos, connecting the two continents, and on the other side of the demon god continent. Suddenly, tragic murderous sounds soared into the sky. An endless demonic aura surged toward Qinnan. Along the divine bridge, it crazily spread towards the purple gold continent. At the front were demonic beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth. Each of the demonic beasts had a huge demonic body that was hundreds or thousands of feet tall. Demonic wolves, demonic bulls, demonic tigers, flying dragons, demonic eagles, and black phoenixes were densely packed. Not only on the ground, but even the sky was completely covered. It was incomparably dense, and one could not see the end of it. It blotted out the sky and covered the earth. On the divine bridge of heaven and earth, one could feel a wave of black ink crazily spreading. The momentum was even more terrifying than the beast tide. It could almost destroy anything in front of them. It's the demonic beast army. Looks like the demon god continent's invasion has finally begun. Using demonic beasts as the vanguard is already a common practice for the demon god continent. The beast tide formed by these demonic beasts will not be easy to stop. When the soliciting moon saintess saw this, her expression changed slightly. Although she could only see it through the ancient mirror, she could still feel the terrifying pressure that swept over, as if it could crush everything. The demonic beast army could be said to be endless. Their numbers were so huge that it was unimaginable. Billions, tens of billions, and even hundreds of billions. At a glance, there was a sea of demonic beasts everywhere. It was a beast tide that could destroy everything. That kind of monstrous evil aura was even crazier and more terrifying than that of ancient times. Just this beast tide alone was comparable to the great battle of ancient times. In front of this beast tide, even peerless powerhouses were insignificant. Then, neat squads of 8-armed demonic gods stepped onto the divine bridge of heaven and earth in orderly steps. Each of them had a demonic body that was thousands of feet tall. Each of them held a demonic weapon in their hand. As they moved, there seemed to be a strange formation. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1269. These 8-armed demon gods were equally large in number. They were densely packed and surged forward like a tidal wave. Their movements were methodical, and each of them seemed to have the terrifying combat strength of an ancient demon sage. At a glance, there were several billion of them. That was not all. It was not just the 8-armed demon gods that rushed out. There were also demonic snakes with triangular eyes. Their bodies exuded a chilling demonic aura. Terrifying demonic pythons coiled around their arms. Their bodies were weak and boneless, but their movements were as fast as lightning. There were so many of them that they did not pale in comparison to the 8-armed demon gods. Some of the crazed bloodstripe virus were even surging onto the divine bridges on the backs of enormous bats. Just these alone, in addition to the magical beast army, had already reached a huge number of hundreds of billions. The overbearing demonic aura that surged over seemed to want to completely destroy the entire purple gold continent under the first wave of attacks. The magnitude of the momentum was simply unprecedented. Any expert would appear abnormally small and insignificant in the face of such an imposing aura. The demon god continent seemed to be displaying the powerful strength that they had accumulated over countless years. This was only a part of their strength. Whether it was demonic beasts, 8-armed demon gods, demonic snakes, or bloodstripe tribe, they were just the lowest races in the demon god continent. It was just that their reproductive ability was strong and they occupied a position. Otherwise, they would have been annihilated long ago. But even so, just a small part of their strength was enough to shock the heavens and earth and shock the chaos. What a terrifying demon god continent. Even with such a huge force, this is only a small part of their strength. This time, they're planning to have a decisive battle with the purple gold continent. This battle will determine the outcome of the battle. Who knows how much more strength they have hidden behind this? This battle is not going to be easy for the human race. If the demon god continent had displayed its current strength in the ancient times, the demon race would have found it difficult to resist. The soliciting moon Sanus had personally experienced the devastating battle back then. She was truly shocked by the strength displayed by the demon god continent. She was truly terrified by it. It's all right. We just need to sit and watch. This battle is no longer a matter of the demon race. It's so satisfying to watch the human race and the demon gods battle. Tion smiled faintly and raised his wine cup as if inviting the heavens to drink. However, this scene was not only seen in the Jade Pool. Moreover, it was displayed in the eyes of every single cultivator in the entire Zijin continent. After the tides of annihilation, the scene of the purplish gold bridge of heaven and earth piercing through the chaos could be said to be directly reflected in the void, appearing before the eyes of every cultivator. At this moment, they could personally witness everything that happened on the bridge of heaven and earth. Seeing the densely packed demon beasts and demon gods, countless cultivators were so shocked that they couldn't even close their mouths. The devil gods are invading. What a huge army of devil gods. How terrifying. It's like the annihilation tide. How are we supposed to defend against such a terrifying army? When the demonic gods begin their invasion, what about the humans? What about the human army? Humans are the protagonists of the world, so why don't they mobilize their armies to resist? Back in ancient times, the demons stood at the very front without a word, fighting against the demon god. How can a human race be afraid and not fight? My goodness, hundreds of billions of demonic gods are really going to fight a bloody battle this time. Even the heavens and earth will be shattered. If they come crushing over, who can stop them? This is the foundation of the demon god continent. Rumor has it that back in ancient times, the army that was mobilized was not even a tenth of the current army. This time, it seems like there's really no room for delay. Countless cultivators disgust and shock. Each of them felt as if there were countless mountains pressing down on their heads, as if they could be crushed at any time and be crushed into powder. They were also looking forward to the human race's reaction. This was the time to truly test them. If they retreated, the human race could forget about occupying the position of the protagonists of the world in the future. None of them would be able to hold their heads up high. Dong, dong, dong. At this moment, a series of intense war drums sounded between the heavens and earth. The sound was abnormally urgent. Every drum beat seemed to beat directly on the heart, causing the blood in the body to boil continuously. Puppet army, kill, 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 rumble, rumble, rumble. Amidst the violent rumbles, a huge crack suddenly appeared in the human race's encampment. A strong, murderous intent shot up to the sky from within. Behind the crack, there seemed to be a vast space. Amidst the terrifying rumbles, numerous Cold War figures that shone with a metallic luster appeared out of thin air. They crossed over to the bridge of heaven and earth. Those were huge puppets that were no different from humans. With a strong desire to fight, they stepped onto the bridge of heaven and earth. Each puppet had a terrifying body that was tens of thousands of feet tall. They were made of countless divine metals. On the surface, there were countless mysterious Tao, patterns, and restrictions. There was only endless murderous intent in the eyes of the puppets. There were puppets that existed for the sake of killing. The blood-red sabers in their hands gave off the smell of blood. Each puppet was made to be as strong and terrifying as an unparalleled expert. Moreover, there seemed to be the power of stars shining in their bodies. There were tens of thousands of puppets. That was not all. Behind them, there were war puppets that were tens of thousands of feet tall. All of them had the terrifying aura of ancient giants surging. These puppets were even more numerous. There were at least 1 million of them. As soon as this puppet army appeared, they immediately displayed an unparalleled and terrifying aura. They stood on the spot like a rock in the sea, unyielding. They were unshakable. They rushed onto the bridge of heaven and earth and blocked the first array. There was no fear or nervousness. There was only cold, murderous intent. It was like an army of thousands of horses. What a good human race! As expected of the race that is the best at creation among the hundreds of races in the universe. They're the race that can absorb the strong aspects of other races and finally turn them into their own. They're the race that can create new things. Only the human race can make and refine these war puppets. They are made of countless spiritual materials, imprinted with countless Tao patterns, and use the core of stars as the energy source of these war puppets. As expected of an unprecedented move, this is one of the foundations of the human race. Sakura quietly looked at the birth of this tyrannical army of puppets and said with a hint of profound meaning at the corner of his mouth, "Such a puppet army that only knew how to kill was extremely powerful. There was no pain, no fear. Even if they were destroyed, they would not scream. Such an army could unleash extraordinary destructive power. The human race has indeed made a move. These war puppets are the crystallization of the human race's wisdom. I wonder if they can withstand the invasion of the demon god army. The human race is not as simple as they seem. The hidden foundation is indeed beyond imagination. Once this puppet army is out, it can withstand an army of thousands of horses. Each of those 10,000 feet tall puppets is comparable to an unparalleled expert. The human race has spent a lot of wealth to make them. The human race's move was indeed quite amazing. Dong, dong, dong. The sound of the war drums continued to rumble. As the war drums became more rapid, another crack opened in the human race's territory. One after another, ferocious war chariots rushed out. The surface of these war chariots were all sharp spikes that could directly penetrate the void. A casual touch would cause flesh and blood to splatter. If they rushed into the battlefield, they would be terrifying meat grinders like hedgehogs. They were extremely terrifying and sent chills down one's spine. They were weapons of war. In front of the war chariots, there were huge dragon beasts pulling the chariots. They were extremely strong and had tough skin and flesh. When the war chariots rushed out, they were terrifying killing machines. There were no less than 100,000 of such war chariots. It was also a terrifying army. They also entered the heaven and earth sacred bridge. Then another crack opened. Troops with blood-red, murderous aura leaped out. They were holding cold crossbows in their hands. On the crossbows, there was a quiver. In the quiver, there were countless sharp demon-slaying arrows. They were extremely powerful. Once they were unleashed, they could instantly kill a large number of enemies like pear blossom rain needles. There were more than 10 million troops in this army. Who knew how many demon gods could be killed in one volley? Looking at these troops, countless cultivators could not help but be dumbfounded. They were deeply shocked by the foundation of the human race. They did not expect the human race to be able to unleash such a terrifying foundation. This was what it meant to be unfathomable. In the blink of an eye, the troops steadily rushed onto the heaven and earth sacred bridge like Mount Tai. They were ready to fight the demon gods. This seemed to be only a part of the human race's foundation. Undead army, go to war. At this moment, not only the human race, but the other races also knew that this was a war. It was a war that would not end until one side died. There was no way out of a war. No one could be lucky. Either the demon gods retreated or the purple gold land was invaded. It was that simple. There was no other result. On an ancient battlefield, in the endless aura of death, troops appeared out of thin air. An army appeared out of thin air. These were huge skeletons clad in bone armor. They were like an ocean gathering together. There were archers and warriors, all of them leaping toward the bridge at the same time. Inside their bodies, soul fires were pulsing. These were the flames of life. These are the undead army. Billions of the undead army roared. They rushed onto the sacred bridge. Azura warriors, huh? Kill them. Exterminate the demon gods. Angry roars filled with battle intent echoed between heaven and earth. The huge Azura army seemed to have emerged from hell. Each of them was filled with madness. Not only were they mad at others, but they were also mad at themselves. They were warriors who crawled out of corpses. They lived for battle and died for battle. This was the end of their faith. We exist to spread the light. We fight for God. For God's glory, angel army, kill, kill, kill. Countless angel army soared into the sky and entered the heaven and earth sacred bridge with the power of light. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1270. Boom, boom. Giant after giant, clad in animal hides and wielding lightning axes, marched out of the giant mountain range to the beat of the war drums. These giants were terrifyingly large. Even the smallest of them was 30 to 40,000 meters tall. The tallest of them was hundreds of thousands of meters tall, or even close to 1,000,000 meters tall. Their bodies emitted monstrous aura, and their roars were like thunder. Every strand of their hair was like a giant python, overbearingly striding towards the divine bridge of heaven and earth. How can we, the Titan giants, fall behind? If the purple gold land is destroyed, how can we survive? Kill. Kill the demon bastards. Brothers, charge. Loud roars came from the Titan army. 100,000 Titans rushed out. The Titan race could not be compared to the other races in terms of reproduction. This army of 100,000 could be said to have brought out a considerable amount of their resources. This was a battle to the death. There was no retreat in this bloody battle. If they retreated, they would die. If they fought, they would still have a chance of survival. Each of the giants possessed an unbelievable strength. Even if their cultivation had yet to reach the peerless realm, they would still be able to fight against a peerless realm cultivator. They could make the peerless realm pay a high price. Not only that, but at this moment, under the great pressure, almost all the tribes in the universe did not hold back. They took out the resources that they had accumulated over countless years. Their armies rushed towards the divine bridge of heaven and earth with monstrous aura. The star army of the star tribe, the demonic army of the demon tribe, the zombie army of the zombie tribe. The various races that usually kept a low profile erupted completely at this moment. This was the final cry for the survival of their own race. Armies appeared one after another and went up to the divine bridge of heaven and earth. The divine bridge of heaven and earth was the final battlefield. The divine bridge could accommodate everything. Even the peerless realm would not be damaged at all. This was the final battlefield, and this scene fell into the demon court. Many important ministers of the demon court also gathered together and looked up. The human tribe has stolen the protagonist of heaven and earth for so many years. They have indeed accumulated an incredible amount of resources. The war puppet army, the war chariot formation, the crossbow army. Just these alone are enough to dominate the world. It seemed that this was only a part of the human race's foundation. There must be many more hidden cards. They have the strength, but they want to hide it. They want us to be the vanguard. They really know how to dream of stabbing us in the back. His heart should be destroyed. The humans have trump cards, but the fiend celestial continent is even more powerful. Let's see what other trump cards they have. Whose eyes revealed a cold and mocking expression. It doesn't matter. The human race has a lot of resources, trump cards, and schemes. However, we, the demon race, will not be afraid of them. Just with this puppet army, those tens of thousands of unparalleled war puppets? What a joke. How can the strength of the demon clan be seen clearly by others? His Majesty's trump cards were endless. Right, Minister, the Bloodkill guards are no longer in the demon court, right? The grave and stern Schwescher suddenly asked Mingxi. They have already gone where they should go. When they return, they will naturally shock everyone who witnessed it. Mingxi smiled mysteriously. His eyes were watching the monstrous battle on the divine bridge of heaven and earth with interest. In the entire demon court, only he, the right minister, who was in charge of military affairs, knew how powerful the hidden strength of the demon court was. It was far more than what he had reported in the Jade Pool. What he could say was only the strength on the surface. No one could figure out the secret strength. The humans were strong, but the demon clan might not be weaker than them. As the emperor, how could he reveal all his trump cards at once? That would be digging his own grave. In the Jade Pool, Di Shirtian also saw the scene of the impending battle. He only smiled faintly at the strength displayed by the humans. He did not care at all and continued to drink the immortal wine and eat the spiritual fruits. He looked content. From time to time, his eyes swept across Katomi and Tian Xiang's faces, causing the two girls to feel shy. It was as if their hearts were beating constantly. Tian, the strength of the humans is not to be underestimated. Are you confident? Suddenly, the Empress Dowager, who had been looking at her children with doting eyes, asked. One could hear the deep concern in her words. Mother, don't worry. The humans are nothing to worry about. I have already made preparations. They won't be able to do much. Even a human ancestor can forget about being presumptuous in front of me. Mother, just relax. I will take care of everything. Di Shirtian said respectfully. No matter how high his cultivation was, he had never been disrespectful to the Empress Dowager. His mother had given him life. Filial piety was the best gift in return. Not respecting his mother was not respecting himself. All right, everyone go and rest. Although the divine bridge of heaven and earth connects the purple gold continent and the demon god continent, the distance between them is not short. A real collision will take at least a day or so before the two sides engage in close combat. Rest well today and continue to watch the show tomorrow. Di Shirtian smiled faintly. The girls understood and left together. As if on purpose, no one called Katomi and Baihu, as if they had completely forgotten about them. In the blink of an eye, only Di Shirtian and the three of them were left. The quiet moonlight scattered gentle moonlight. In the quiet night, there was an invisible feeling of affection. Di Shirtian walked in front of the two girls and held their soft hands in his hands. There was a hint of guilt in his eyes. Tian Xiang, I have been busy with the matters of the demon race all these years. I owe you so much. I have not been able to walk and talk with you like a normal husband and wife. Speaking of which, I am not a good husband. As he spoke, there was endless guilt in his words. Yes, to the entire demon race, he was a good emperor. He had led the demon race to glory, and his achievements could not be erased. However, as a husband, as a father, and even as a daughter, he owed her too much. Regarding this, he could not help but feel a little sad. Husband, needless to say, we sisters understand. Su Tianxiang reached out and blocked Di Shirtian's mouth. Her face was full of coquettishness as she said, The rise of the demon race is great. You are the demon emperor. If you don't worry about the matters of the demon race, who will? We sisters know this very well. How can we blame you? We only have endless pride. In this world, there are countless peerless heavenly girls who are envious of us sisters. Husband, You are our pride. That's right, husband. Today, Exion will completely give herself to you. Katomi's voice was like an orchid in an empty valley. There was determination in her voice as she spoke without hesitation. Looking at Di Shirtian, her eyes were full of endless tenderness. Di Shirtian's heart was burning with passion. Looking at the two girls, it was as if there was a blazing flame burning in his eyes. Exion Tian Xiang, it's getting late. Let's rest together. Di Shirtian did not hesitate any longer. He stretched out his arms and hugged the two soft and slender waists. His figure flickered and disappeared in an instant. When he reappeared, he was already in the bedroom. Husband, please take pity on me. Two cries of pain could be heard amidst the coquettish cries. Following that, there was a series of breathing sounds that made one's blood vessels expand. Moans and groans echoed in the main hall, causing one's imagination to run wild. The moans and groans that tugged at one's heartstrings only gradually subsided when the sun rose. On the purple gold mainland, and even in the chaos, there was a murderous aura that was extremely oppressive and suffocating. However, in the jade pool, there was a strong sense of spring. It was as if the war outside did not bother them at all. Indeed, although the bridge of heaven and earth connected the two mainlands directly, the distance was too far. However, the distance was too long after all. Even with the terrifying speed of the demon god army, they still needed a day and a half before they could collide with the army of Zijin mainland. However, no matter how far the distance was, there would still be moments when they collided. On the bridge of heaven and earth, the human race army was only stationed at one end of the bridge of heaven and earth. On the other hand, the demon god army was sweeping over like a tsunami. One was burning with demonic flames, while the other was as steady as a mountain. It seemed that their auras were about the same, but vaguely, the human race was already at a disadvantage. One was defending, while the other was attacking. It was clear who was stronger and who was weaker at a glance. Roar, roar, roar. Finally, when the sun rose, the entire demon god army was already in front of them. What greeted them was the demon beast army that covered the sky. Countless demon beasts let out ferocious roars. Countless attacks, demonic flames, demonic ice, and so on, burst out from those demon beasts. Like a storm, they bombarded the puppet army at the front. That scene was like the end of the world. Kill, kill, kill. The puppet army followed suit and attacked. A huge shield appeared in the hands of the puppet army. Once the shield appeared, it immediately released countless rays of golden light that shot toward the entire demon beast army. It even blocked the attacks that filled the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Countless shields let out terrifying roars and flashed with countless runes. Some of the shields shattered on the spot under the overwhelming attacks. However, every ray of golden light that shot out from the shields was like the most terrifying battle spears. It directly pierced through the bodies of the demon beasts at the front. Like snowflakes in summer, under the golden light, they turned into puddles of blood that flowed down the bridge of heaven and earth and drifted toward the purple gold mainland. It rained blood. Dozens of war puppets were directly blasted into pieces. However, the number of demon beasts that fell was even larger. Just the first wave of attacks had turned hundreds of millions of demon beasts into blood. They died on the spot. However, these hundreds of millions of demon beasts were simply a drop in the ocean compared to the hundreds of billions of demon beasts in the entire demon beast army. It was not worth mentioning at all. The demon beasts at the back were not afraid at all. They continued to charge forward in an overwhelming manner. There was no more buffer. The demon beasts clashed head-on. Boom, boom, boom. Thousands of thunderbolts roared. Countless demon beasts poured down like a tide and directly drowned the puppet army. A large number of puppets were directly torn into pieces. That being said, the war puppets were incredibly powerful. They were equivalent to tens of thousands of matchless war puppets and were impenetrable by weapons, water, and fire. With a single stomp, they killed dozens of demonic beasts and swung their blood-red sabers. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1271. Brothers, if you have tickets, let's go. Kill. Kill. The huge blood-red saber directly split a large number of magical beasts in half. Countless corpses fell like raindrops. There was no need for any battle skill. It could easily kill a large number of magical beasts. Each of the war puppets exploded with shocking power. No magical beast could block their saber. In the blink of an eye, corpses were everywhere. They were densely distributed on the divine bridge. But at the same time, the power of the beast tide was too terrifying. Even the war puppets, who were engulfed by the beast tide, had cracks all over their bodies from the magical beast attacks. In almost every breath, there were war puppets that were smashed into pieces by the magical beast army. Among them, even the most powerful war puppets were smashed into pieces. However, even so, the entire army of war puppets was like a boulder, forcefully blocking the sky demon flames of the magical beast army. They were firmly blocked at a distance, unable to quickly advance or destroy the army of war puppets. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Since the beginning of the war, it had become exceptionally bitter. There was no right or wrong in this race war, and there was no room for negotiation. Kill, kill, kill. There was only one word, kill. With the war puppets in front of them, although they couldn't block for too long, it was enough to create a buffer. On the spot, the crossbowmen at the back raised their crossbows. The demon slayer arrows loaded in the crossbows were like locusts, shooting towards the entire magical beast army in an instant. Every single crossbow shot out tens of thousands of devil-slaying arrows in an instant. Tens of millions of crossbowmen fired in unison. The dense rain of arrows caused the sky to darken. Poo-pu-pu. One by one, the devil-slaying arrows pierced through the gigantic demonic beast body. Then, he was sent flying backwards. The overbearing demon-slaying power burst out completely, and in an instant, countless demonic beasts exploded. The demonic beasts were instantly annihilated as if they were mowing grass. Rumble. Immediately after, the terrifying war chariots rushed out. The war chariots were like ferocious beasts. They left behind countless pieces of flesh and blood, flying in all directions. They were terrifying meat grinders. Roar. The demonic beasts grew up in the boundless evil chi of the demonic god continent. Their bodies contained a terrifying and brutal demonic nature. When they saw a large number of demonic beasts die, they did not even think before charging at the war chariot. They let out demonic roars as their bodies collided violently. One by one, they wildly self-detonated. A devastating destructive power erupted. High up in the air, countless demonic birds charged forward without any regard for their own safety, crashing directly into the war puppets and self-detonating one after another. Although the self-detonation of one or two demonic beasts wouldn't be able to destroy the war puppets, thousands upon thousands of them began to self-detonate. That scene was simply terrifying. Under the suicidal attacks of those demonic beasts, the puppets were smashed into pieces one after another. The terrifying rumbling sounds did not stop for even a moment. It didn't take long for the army of puppets and the army of war chariots to be wiped out. Similarly, the annihilation of these two armies had resulted in the destruction of the entire magical beast army. There were no more than 20 million demonic beasts left, so they couldn't form a large beast tide. Kill, 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 kill these humans. I've heard that humans have tender skin and tender flesh, perfect for eating raw. Tear them apart. Take over the purple gold continent and snatch all the beauties. The army of demonic beasts was only the first wave. Following behind, countless eight-armed demonic gods let out ferocious demonic roars. They waved their 8 arms at the same time, colliding with the crossbow army like a meat grinder. The crossbow army directly changed their bows to swords and fought with the demonic gods. They used the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. They became the same size as the demonic gods. A tragic massacre ensued. Bam, bam, bam. The intense collisions brought about countless blood-red sparks. On the spot, A large number of demonic gods and human cultivators were torn into pieces at the same time. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere. The tragic, murderous aura condensed into blood-red clouds in the sky above the divine bridge. Terrifying cries reverberated in the heavens and earth. The bodies of the demonic gods were simply too strong. After all, humans were born weak. In the massacre, the casualties of the humans were extremely high. Hundreds of thousands and millions of cultivators were like waves in the sea in the war. They couldn't cause much of stir. Dong dong dong. Among the humans, intense war drums sounded again. A crack opened, and a huge army appeared in front of them again. This time, it was a huge cavalry. The cavalry rode on dragon horses. Whether it was the warriors or the dragon horses, they were all wearing heavy armor made of star divine iron. They had a terrifying aura that was like a mountain. A cavalry army of 100 million appeared in the heavens and earth. These cavalrymen traversed the void, holding battle spears that flickered with cold light in their hands. They stared coldly at the divine bridge of heaven and earth. Dragon blood cavalry, iron armor battle formation, iron wall, sharp edge battle formation, destroy the demonic gods. A cold voice echoed in the void. With a boom, the entire cavalry army instantly broke through the void. Like a torrent that broke through a dam, they directly charged toward the army of demonic gods. The entire army moved at the same time, as if they were whole. Naturally, they brought with them a monstrous aura. In the blink of an eye, they appeared in front of the demonic gods. Those demonic gods didn't even have time to react. They were trampled into meat paste onto the iron hooves. All kinds of attacks landed on them. It was as if there was a strong barrier in front of them. It was difficult to break through. Like a sharp blade, it swept across. Large numbers of demonic gods were pierced by the battle spears. The speed of the cavalry was so fast that it was faster than lightning. Therefore, the force of impact was even more tyrannical and terrifying. The defense of the heavy armor on their bodies was inhuman. Even the demonic weapons of the demonic gods couldn't break through it. It was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, millions of demonic gods were killed. The cavalry focused on speed. Batches of demonic gods were cut apart, and their connections were severed. They were going to devour them one by one. However, these demonic gods were terrifying. Not only were they cruel to their enemies, but they were also cruel to themselves. TSK, brothers, these humans want to deal with us. How can we let them kill us? Even if we die, we have to clear the way for the army behind us. Let's return to the embrace of the demonic gods. Go to hell. That's right. The humans of the purple gold mainland are the main characters. Now, it seems that they do have some strength. However, we are dying for the great cause of the demonic gods. The demonic gods will remember us. Let's go down together with them and wipe out the humans. When the 8-armed demonic gods saw the terrifying, destructive power of the cavalry, they let out a series of frenzied roars. None of them were afraid of death. When they saw the cavalry nearby, they pounced on them with ferocious expressions. Rumble. One by one, the demonic gods rushed up, hugged the cavalry, and self-detonated on the spot without hesitation. The terrifying, destructive power tore the cavalry into pieces. The sound of self-detonation rang out one after another. The war between the two continents had entered a white-hot state from the very beginning. There was no leeway to ease it. In a short period of time, the casualties on both sides had reached hundreds of millions, even billions. Including magical beasts, the death toll was in the hundreds of billions. Whoosh! On the purple and gold continent, a rain of blood continued to fall, dyeing the ground red. Countless living beings, as well as countless cultivators who were not qualified to participate in the battle, were all dumbfounded as they watched the tragic battle in the void. Their mouths were wide open, and they could not close them. Demonic gods, this is the demonic god army. The demonic beast army of hundreds of billions destroyed the puppet army, war chariot army, and even the crossbow army. That is equivalent to tens of thousands of peerless experts. If not for these, they would have charged directly to the purple gold mainland. Who on this mainland would be able to stop them? What a terrifying war. This is a real war. Tens of thousands of peerless experts clashed and annihilated each other. This is just the beginning. What kind of war will happen next? These seem to be the vanguard of the demonic gods. The real high-level demonic gods have yet to appear. How are we going to fight this war? Demonic gods, how terrifying. They are indeed a bunch of lunatics. They can even self-detonate without hesitation. Are they really not afraid of death? They are all war lunatics. All of them are lunatics. This is a war between races. I heard that the demon race was at the forefront. The demon race blocked most of the attacks of the demonic gods, allowing the purple-gold mainland to be preserved. Only now do I know that the war in the ancient times would not be any better than now. Legend has it that the demon race had once entered the chaos with a large number of experts. They were forced to sign an alliance with the immemorial gods and demons in order to preserve the mainland. Without the demon race, where would we be now? We would have been destroyed in the ancient times. However, the Yao clan was betrayed and betrayed. It was as if a dagger had been stabbed into the heart of every Yao clan member. No wonder the demon emperor led the demon race to stand aside and ignore this war. If it were us, we would also not resist. The fierce battle caused countless cultivators to feel a chill in their hearts. They thought of the scene of the demon race resisting the demonic gods in the ancient times. Some cultivators could not help but start to reflect. The demonic gods are still demonic gods. Their nature is still as cruel as before. They are ruthless to their enemies and even more ruthless to themselves. They crawled out of countless corpses. At this moment, all the important ministers were gathered in the Lingxiao Palace. Di Shirtian sat on the throne. Beside him were the demon empress, demon concubine, empress dowager, eldest princess, Zixuan, and the rest. Almost all the important figures were present. Many pairs of eyes were fixed on the scene in an ancient mirror in the main hall. When they saw the demon gods self-destructing without any hesitation, the expressions of many of the ministers changed. Sakura, however, shook his head slightly and said, "This was the terror of the demon gods. They had the personality of a wolf. They were true demons. Your Majesty, in my opinion, the humans still have many trump cards that they have not revealed. The 10 supreme divine artifacts, many unparalleled experts, the human ancestor and the Tao ancestor are all in hiding. This battle has only just begun," Mengshi said with a serious expression. "To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation." Chapter 1272. Indeed, the war had just begun, but it was already so tragic. This was something that had never happened before. Almost every moment, there were tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of experts who had fallen. If their spiritual souls could survive, their souls would fill up the void. However, it seemed that in such a fierce battle, almost all of their spiritual souls were torn apart by the terrifying power. "Your Majesty, Shingong requests an audience." At this moment, a shout came from outside the Lingxiao Treasure Hall. Upon closer inspection, who else could it be but Shingong Gongbao? However, there was a travel-worn aura on him. "Come in." Di Shirtian nodded majestically and motioned for Shingong Gongbao, who was standing outside, to enter the hall. "Your Majesty, I'm back," Shingong Gongbao said with a hint of joy on his face and bowed respectfully. "How's the matter going?" Sakura waited for him to catch his breath, and without hesitation, he immediately asked, "Your Majesty, I followed the cursed scepter that Your Majesty gave me and successfully entered the land of all evil with the help of the scepter's senses. However, I did not enter the valley. There was a strong restriction outside the valley that even the cursed scepter could not break through. However, I took back this." Shingong Gongbao's expression was solemn. A light flashed in his hand, and a jade box appeared in his hand. A maid came forward to take the jade box and presented it to Di Shirtian. Crack! He casually opened the jade box. Suddenly, there were a few remnant pages in it. Strong underworld aura could be felt from them. At a glance, there were a total of 8 pages. The outlines of the Tao patterns flickered. It was as if each page contained an independent world. It could devour everything at any time. Remnant pages of the Book of the Netherworld. Listen to my order. Turn into the door of the Netherworld. Use the soul-sucking divine ability and merge into it. Devour thousands of souls and nurture the spiritual soul. Imprint the Book of the Netherworld and return after experiencing the tribulation. Dishurtian's eyes fell on the jade box. He spoke in the Emperor's language with an unparalleled Emperor's might. That kind of supreme power was completely revealed. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With his sovereign lord cultivation base, the Paragon Emperor's speech was a divine ability that could alter the heavens and transform the earth. As soon as the words left his mouth, the 8 pages flew up into the air and began to melt together. In the blink of an eye, they had turned into a ball of liquid. There seemed to be countless mysterious underworld words flashing in this liquid. They quickly changed, moving up, down, left, and right, forming a pitch-black ancient door. On the door, there were countless ferocious ghosts bearing their fangs, emitting an invisible force. In the blink of an eye, the entire ancient door was filled with a gloomy and terrifying aura. Immediately after, a beam of soul-absorbing divine light shot out from the eye of heaven's punishment and imprinted itself on the ancient door. The moment the soul-absorbing divine light entered, the entire ancient door flashed with a strange cold light. It was as if the evil spirits floating on the ancient door were opening their terrifying eyes, wanting to devour everything. In the blink of an eye, the ancient gate was completed. It was as if the aura emitted by the ancient gate was close to that of a top-grade, connate numinous treasure. Vaguely, a life was being nurtured in the ancient gate. Shengong, take this gate of the abyss to the divine bridge of heaven and earth. If you take it out, it can devour any soul on its own. However, as long as the demon god doesn't attack you, you don't have to do anything. You just need to use this gate of the abyss to collect souls. Dishurtian took a deep look at the gate of the abyss and handed it to Shengongbao. Your Majesty, don't worry. Now that your humble servant has broken through to the ancient demon god realm, whoever dares to attack me will suffer retribution. I'm going now, Shengongbao said with a smile. With a confident look on his face, he put away the gate of the abyss and left for the divine bridge of heaven and earth. Brother Shurtian, if we do this, will the prison head really come back? Huan asked worriedly in his mind. Most of the time, Dishurtian wouldn't restrict them unless he was having sex with his wife. They could freely see the outside scene. However, they were all in Tian Fa world after all. Naturally, there was some friendship between her and Ming. I've done everything I can. The Book of the Underworld contains his life imprint. His original form was the Book of the Underworld. There are 18 pages in the Book of the Underworld. 1 page was retrieved in the turbulence of time and space. The other 9 pages were retrieved in the land of exile, and the remaining 8 pages are all here. They were refined into the gate of the abyss. I've collected all the imprints in them and placed them in the ancient gate. If there are no accidents, Ming should be able to come back in this battle. Dishurtian took a deep breath and answered. The gate of the abyss was not ordinary. It was directly connected to the entire infernal purgatory. Once it appeared, all the souls would be sucked into the gate of the abyss, and the broken souls would be directly integrated into the ancient gate to strengthen the gate of the abyss. The more soul fragments it devoured, the more powerful it would be. At the same time, these soul fragments would also nourish the imprints in it. It would be reborn. Kill, kill, kill. Attack and occupy the purple gold continent. Kill all the humans. The demon ancestors are watching us from behind. We must not lose face as demon gods. We must let the humans know the ferocity of us demon gods. We must tell them that we are ferocious. On the divine bridge of heaven and earth, the battle was so fierce that the sun and the moon lost their light. The army of 8-armed demon gods was huge, and they were not afraid of death. If they felt that there was no way out, they would self-destruct without hesitation. A large number of demon gods had also gained a firm foothold and set up all kinds of battle formations. Thousand-armed demon god formation condensed the great chaos demon god. Thousand-winged blood demon formation condensed the blood demon real body. Thousand snake formation condensed the snake demon real body. Innumerable demon gods quickly formed battle formations. Countless eight-armed demon gods formed battle formations, and in the blink of an eye, a large number of demon gods disappeared under the dense demonic chi. In their place were demon gods that were millions of feet tall. Each demon god had 3,000 demon arms, forming various demon seals, demon weapons, and demon treasures. Chaotic wills were roaring in them. They brought about tremendous pressure. There were hundreds of such great chaos demon gods. There were even snake demons that had the body of a demon and the body of a huge snake. They held snake spears in their hands and had countless green eyes on their bodies. There were also crimson demon gods that had thousands of pairs of crimson wings on their backs that roared at the sky. Each of them was huge, and the aura that they exuded was even more terrifying than peerless. Kill! The great chaos demon god waved casually, and the 3,000 arms smashed onto a group of heavy-armored cavalrymen like fiery wheels. On the spot, hundreds of thousands of cavalrymen were smashed into pieces. Even the heavy-armored cavalrymen could not withstand it. When they went berserk, they charged forward without restraint like crazy demons. On the body of the snake demons, countless eyes shot out strange lights that landed on the cultivators, causing them to be poisoned. They turned into blood in the blink of an eye. The lethality was terrifying. The blood demon spat out a mouthful of blood mist that turned into countless blood souls that pounced on the cultivators. Those blood souls did not have bodies. Once they pounced on them, they passed through them. In the blink of an eye, the cultivators turned into pieces of black human skin that fell to the ground. Moo! Just as the battle was in full swing, a deafening bull roar rang out above the battlefield. Shun Gongbao, who was dressed in a green Taoist robe and had the demeanor of an immortal, was riding on the back of a golden bull. He placed the gate of the abyss on his two horns, as if a bull was carrying the gate of the abyss forward. Souls, come back! Souls, come back! As soon as he stepped on the divine bridge of heaven and earth, an eerie, soul-summoning voice rang out above the gate of the abyss. On the bloody battlefield, this voice carried a chill and penetrated the bodies of every cultivator and demon god. Boom! 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 At the same time, countless broken divine souls and demon soul fragments rushed toward the gate of the abyss from all directions as if they had been summoned. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of them were sucked into the abyss. Moreover, a large number of divine souls of cultivators and demon gods who had just died were sucked into the abyss and sent into the abyss. There was a fierce battle below. However, the people above were collecting souls, and they might be the next to be sucked into the abyss. On the battlefield, the color of the eyes of both humans and demon gods changed. They all stared at Shun Gongbao. Damn it, what the hell is this soul-summoning voice? I'll kill you. A demon god of great chaos formed by a battle formation roared. His eyes were like lightning, and his 3,000 arms launched chaotic attacks at the same time. Saber light, sword shadows, and countless demonic techniques poured down like a tide, trying to tear Shun Gongbao into pieces. Aha! Fellow Taoist, we are all civilized people. There's no need to use weapons. Shun Gongbao smiled faintly, not caring at all about the surging sky demon technique that was coming at him. He said calmly, and 3 lotus flowers appeared above his head. One of them swayed slightly. Immediately, countless doomsday storms, thousands of disasters, and space-time disorder emerged without warning. They were annihilated at the same time as the sky demon technique. At the same time, a strange chaotic aura appeared on the demon god of great chaos. Screams rang out. Oh, what's going on? Why is there a backlash in the battle formation we formed? It's impossible. There's nothing wrong with the battle formation. Oh no, the demon god of great chaos's chaotic power is out of control. It's over. Countless demon gods roared in horror from within the demon god of great chaos. Rumble. The entire demon god of great chaos collapsed, inexplicably suffering from the backlash of the battle formation he formed and self-destructed. Countless demon gods were torn to pieces by the backlash, and all their demon souls were swept into the gates of hell. A vortex appeared in the gates of hell, emitting a powerful suction force, crazily plundering all the souls. Don't touch that guy. That's Shingongbao. It's the Bane Star, the god of misfortune. Shingongbao's fierce reputation had long spread like wildfire. In the blink of an eye, there were experts who recognized him. Their expressions changed drastically, and they all distanced themselves from him. The Bane Star came to collect souls? Be it cultivators or demon gods, they all felt a chill down their spines. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1273. They were fighting for their lives down there, and even their souls will be taken away after they died. This made both the cultivators and the demon gods panic, but they did not dare to do anything else. Shingong's deterrence was extraordinarily strong. He came alone and was able to resist thousands of soldiers and horses. He did not seem to have any intention of interfering in the battle, but just taking their souls was enough to make them feel aggrieved. Most importantly, Shingong was an important minister of the demon race. Now that he appeared here, it was worth considering whether he was here to deal with the human race or the demon gods. Both races had blood feuds with the demon race. Regardless of the shock, the battle between the two sides did not stop at all. It was still quite tragic. Countless cavalrymen clashed with the demon god battle formation, causing flesh and blood to fly everywhere. Even though the demon god battle formation had formed, it was still unable to completely suppress the human side. The two sides fought fiercely like a meat grinder. The smell of blood condensed into blood clouds in the void. Clatter. At this moment, the crisp sound of chains could be heard from the chaos. It was as if chains were being dragged on the ground. Steady footsteps with a unique rhythm could be heard. Moreover, it was getting closer and closer. Every step felt like it was stepping on the hearts of every cultivator. At the same time, there was a terrifying aura of death accompanying it. Clatter! In the blink of an eye, a tall and burly figure appeared on the divine bridge of heaven and earth. Black iron chains wrapped around his body, and a black coffin was tied to his back. Waves of white corpse chi continued to spread in all directions. Shurimo, he's here too. A large number of experts in the human race knew about Shurimo's existence. When they saw him, their hearts skipped a beat. This was an existence that they could not afford to offend. That black coffin had killed countless experts. What's Shurimo? We're the demons. The Bane does not dare to move. But do you think we are afraid of you? Watch me turn you into a pool of blood. A huge snake demon let out a roar. Countless rays of poisonous light shot out from its eyes, intending to turn the corpse demon into a puddle of corpse water. Crack! However, Shurimo only glanced at it for a moment before he spat out a strange corpse chi from his body. It blocked his body and collided with the poisonous light. The poisonous light was unable to penetrate the corpse fog. Shortly after, the black coffin behind him opened with a crisp sound. With a clatter, iron chains swept towards the devil snake. Crash! The gigantic devil snake did not even have the slightest ability to resist as it was tied up. Immediately after, a terrifying force erupted from the metal chains and pulled the gigantic body into the black coffin. Furthermore, as it approached the black coffin, the gigantic body began to shrink rapidly. In the blink of an eye, he was pulled into the black coffin. He disappeared without a trace. At the same time, the countless pieces of flesh and bones scattered on the bridge of heaven and earth all burrowed into the black coffin. They were collecting corpses. Wow, I'm so angry. I'm going to fight it out with you. Brothers, let's perish together with him. A large number of demon gods roared angrily. Without a second thought, they charged at Corpse Demon. Their entire bodies exploded with destructive power, wanting to perish together with Corpse Demon. However, there was no expression on Corpse Demon's face. The destructive power produced by the self-destruction of the demon gods was instantly swept into the black coffin, not even causing a ripple. In the Lingxiao Palace, this scene was clearly seen by everyone. In the palace, most of the important ministers' faces were constantly twitching, as if they were trying to hold back something. However, Zi Xian, who was at the side, chuckled. This is really fun. That human and the demon gods must be very conflicted. They're fighting fiercely, and there are corpses everywhere. However, Shun Gong is collecting souls, and Shi Mo is collecting corpses. They must be very interested. Zixin blinked and chuckled. When she said this, even Di Ling chuckled. She seemed to find it very amusing. Those humans and demon gods must be very restless. Shi Mo is here. This time, this emperor might be able to see the master of that black coffin. Di Shirtian did not find it funny at all. He only looked at the black coffin with a deep gaze. The existence in the black coffin was someone he did not dare to say that he could defeat. That was an absolute expert. It seemed that everything in this battle would have a result. At this moment, in the Pantheon Palace, the human ancestor sat on the main seat. Below him were the 6 Tao ancestors, the 3 Buddhist ancestors, and then the unparalleled experts. These unparalleled experts were not the original number, but had multiplied by several times, reaching nearly 300. Gathered together, this was the foundation of the human race. Even if a battle formation could condense the battle strength of an army to the level of unparalleled experts, or even half-step sovereigns, this kind of condensed power could not be compared to a true unparalleled expert, a true half-step sovereigns. Unparalleled, this was the true foundation of the human race. Despicable, too despicable. Human ancestor, the demon race has gone too far. They actually sent a calamity star to the battlefield to collect souls. And that demon corpse, he actually came to collect corpses. They simply don't put us in their eyes. That's right, the demon race is too much. This is an insult to us. Could it be that after we die in battle, not only will our souls be lost, but even our corpses will be used? This is simply too despicable. Not only did they not resist the demon gods, but they also flaunted their strength. The demon race must want us to be wiped out by the demon gods. Why don't we directly destroy the demon court? Let's see if the demon race dares to be arrogant. In the main hall, the experts shouted angrily. On the divine bridge of heaven and earth, one collecting souls and the other collecting corpses. This was simply too horrifying. Don't worry about it. If they want to collect, then let them. These two are not ordinary people, especially that Shurimo. Behind him, there is a great existence. If we really fight, even I may not be able to defeat him. Now is the time to fight for time. How is the fusion of the 10 divine artifacts? The human ancestor's expression did not change, and he was not affected by any words. Human ancestor, the 10 divine artifacts are currently fusing together in the forbidden area. With the suppression of the supreme treasure that we found, even if the 10 divine artifacts go to extremes, they can still forcefully fuse together and become immortal divine artifacts. The celestial maiden of the 4 stars sect answered. Very good. The heavily armored cavalry can't hold on for much longer. Send the heavenly curse legion. The formation legion will also attack together and teach these demon gods a lesson. Let them know that we, the human race, are not to be trifled with. The Taishang Dao ancestor suddenly said. Rumble. The demon gods had indeed come ferociously, and their attacks were extremely fierce. However, the human race was a powerful race that had been accumulating strength for countless years. At this moment, without hesitation, another crack appeared in the human race, and a huge legion appeared again. Tens of millions of ancient powerhouses rode on white cranes and soared into the sky. In their hands, they each held a book, and there seemed to be countless talismans flickering in the book. There was even one that was holding a strange array diagram in its hand. The two legions charged onto the heaven and earth divine bridge again. Myriad lightning incantation. The heavenly curse legion shouted at the same time, and the books in their hands condensed mysterious talismans, which were branded in the void and dissipated immediately. These talismans were densely packed, and they were distributed in every region in the blink of an eye. Rumble. Countless lightning bolts gathered madly, and terrifying thunder roared. Then lightning sabers, lightning swords, and lightning cannons came crashing down on the demon gods from the void. In the blink of an eye, a large number of demon gods were blasted into pieces by the lightning bolts. Golden light formation diagram. Blood formation diagram. 5 elements formation diagram. Then, one by one, the cultivators threw the formation diagrams in their hands at the demon gods. These formation diagrams expanded with the wind, and in the blink of an eye, they covered a large area of the world. As soon as they fell, a large number of demon gods were swept into the formation diagrams. Countless formations in the formation diagrams were activated, and a large number of demon gods were killed immediately. Countless formation diagrams were distributed densely on the divine bridge. This caused the divine bridge to be filled with boundless murderous intent. Every region was filled with endless dangers, and the densely packed formation diagrams were enough to bury countless demon gods. In the blink of an eye, the vanguard army of the demon god continent had all entered the formation diagrams, and there was not much movement. In the blink of an eye, the attacks of the demon gods had been stopped. This scene shocked countless experts. One should know that only formation grandmasters could refine formation diagrams, and each one was extremely precious. But now, the humans had taken out hundreds of thousands of them. This kind of strength was not an ordinary kind of tyrannical. Kill, kill, kill. However, the demon god continent would not give up because of fear. What they had done just now was just a simple test. Indeed, in just a few breaths' time, a monstrous, murderous roar erupted from the other side. Once again, countless powerful 8-armed demon gods roared and swept over. The army of millions gathered to form a gigantic, great destruction demon god that was tens of millions of feet tall. Behind it, a large number of demon gods covered the sky and seemed to be swarming over endlessly. This time, the demon gods sent countless war chariots over. War demon islands appeared one after another. They soared into the sky, and each demon island exuded a terrifying aura, as if they were made from the bones of countless demon gods. Huge stars appeared one after another. On the stars, countless ice-cold star elves held fearsome war bows in their hands and looked ahead coldly. The densely packed elven archers exuded a sharp, murderous aura. There were also countless huge demon dragons that swept over. These demon dragons seemed to have formed some kind of terrifying demon formation, and they let out deafening dragon roars. At a glance, the sky was filled with demon dragons. It was impossible to tell how many demon dragons there were. There seemed to be millions of them, or even tens of millions of them. Each of them was hundreds of thousands of feet long, and the aura they exuded could crush heaven and earth. Kill, kill, kill. At this moment, cold, murderous roars with the coldness of metal were transmitted over. The surging aura caused demonic clouds to condense in the void. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1274. Ding ding ding. On the divine bridge, there were terrifying sounds of countless weapons clashing together. Thousands of demonic weapons were clashing. In the blink of an eye, huge demonic bodies appeared on the divine bridge. Just looking at these demonic bodies was enough to send chills down one's spine and make one's legs tremble. These were not bodies of flesh and blood, but terrifying demonic bodies formed by countless weapons. Each of them was hundreds of thousands of meters tall, and some were even over 1,000,000 meters tall. One could clearly see countless blades and swords squirming in their bodies like flesh and blood, emitting a fierce, killing intent. Their eyes were cold and emotionless. It was as if one could see mountains of corpses and seas of blood in their eyes. There were sword demons formed by countless battle swords, knife demons formed by countless blades, spear demons formed by countless battle spears, and so on. Every one of them was a naked war machine. His body was stained with blood. At the same time, blood shadows shuttled through the void rapidly. Terrifying demonic sounds came from the blood shadows, making people feel the aura of death. The world is a sea of bitterness. Life is for suffering. Only by falling into depravity can one gain eternal life. Groups of demon gods with depraved auras and pairs of black wings on their backs drove a huge demon city toward the battlefield. Naturally, the demon city resounded with depraved hymns. It was as if countless creatures had been lured by it and obtained eternal life through depravity. The densely packed demonic gods charged over with a terrifying aura. There was also a tall demonic dragon clan member with a ferocious dragon head on his neck. He was standing on a huge demonic dragon battleship with an imposing aura that could overturn the world. Star Elven Clan, Blood Demon Clan, Dragon Demon Clan, Fallen Demon God Clan, Demon Soldier Clan. Finally, these superior demon gods began to make their move. The great army pressed against the border. This time, the demon god continent was going to launch a real attack. It was the time for the real decisive battle. Let's see how we can block it. Those formation diagrams should be able to block it for a while. In the main hall, Myriad Calamity Ancestor couldn't help but have a serious expression. His eyes were filled with intense battle intent as he glanced at the bridge of heaven and earth battlefield. The real war is about to begin. In the soaring Heaven King Palace, almost all of the ministers realized that the most tragic war had already begun. This time, it was no longer a simple probing attack like before. Instead, it was a real attack, a relentless attack. At this moment, the war had truly begun. Kill, kill, kill. We demonic gods are the highest existences in the entire primal chaos. All races on the purple gold mainland should be exterminated. Boom, boom, boom. The boundless army of demon gods charged over an unprecedented speed. The demonic dragons that filled the sky instantly formed a terrifying demonic formation. The 9 Netherworld Demonic Dragon World Annihilation Formation. Devil Dragon Apocalypse, Purple Gold Annihilation. Countless demonic dragons let out thunderous roars. Immediately, as if they had received some sort of order, the demonic dragons in the air began to move rapidly. They instantly spread to every corner of the bridge, covering large swathes of space. Boundless demonic chi filled the sky. If one looked closely, they would find that their positions seemed to follow extremely profound trajectories. In the blink of an eye, countless dark demonic clouds gathered from all directions and covered the entire sky. Moreover, these demonic clouds quickly spread in all directions. Pitch-black lightning flashed crazily. Each of them was incomparably sharp, as if they could break the void. One could see the cracks in the space under the lightning. It was extremely terrifying. Even the void above the bridge showed signs of distortion. The dark demonic clouds expanded at an incredible speed, as if they were the most terrifying demons in the world. Your Majesty, it's the 9 Netherworld Demonic Dragon World Annihilation Formation. The demon gods are really starting to get serious. Mengxi's expression turned solemn. She had witnessed the terrifying power of this demonic formation in the past. Now that it was set up by countless demonic dragons, its power would definitely be 100 times, 1,000 times, or even 10,000 times stronger than it was in the past. Isn't it fun to watch and collect the souls and corpses, and then reward the dogs to bite each other? The majestic know-it-all, clad in golden armor, chuckled strangely. He held a golden staff in his hand. His cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds to the late ancient demon god realm at some point in time. With the countless spiritual veins of the demon court, as long as his cultivation level was high enough, there was no need to worry about power. Know it all, it's almost time. Follow the plan. Once the time is right, wait for this Emperor's signal and immediately attack. Sakura instructed Know-It-All in the blink of an eye. Hee, Your Majesty, don't worry. The human race was just under the protection of my ape clan. This time, I'll let them know that my ape clan is not ordinary. I'm going. Know-It-All let out a strange cry, turned around, left the hall, and disappeared. At this moment, the 9 Netherworld Demonic Dragon World Annihilation Formation formed by the demonic dragons was completely unleashed. It was close to the entire human army. In the dark demonic clouds, one could not even see their own fingers. Terrifying gusts of wind blew from the demonic clouds. The dark demonic wind seemed to be able to blow everything in the world into dust. It was all-pervasive. It was the 9 Netherworld demonic wind. When it blew on one's body, one's flesh and blood would be blown into dust. Whoosh! Large amounts of dark demonic rain began to fall along with the 9 Netherworld demonic wind. It streaked across the sky and landed on the heavenly divine bridge. The corpses on the bridge made a strange, sizzling sound. The raindrops directly penetrated the corpses and corroded them into dust. It was extremely terrifying. Black tortoise formation. Rise. Impenetrable defense. Rise. Mountain formation. Rise. On the human side, countless cultivators began to activate the countless formation diagrams on the heavenly divine bridge. Immediately, one of the formation diagrams shot out a strange light and condensed into a huge black tortoise. The black tortoise shell was like a huge umbrella, blocking the demonic wind and demonic rain. There's also a huge city wall blocking the demonic wind. Rumble. Those formation diagrams were powerful, but the 9 Netherworld Demonic Dragon World Annihilation Formation was even more terrifying. The formation diagrams were rapidly being worn down and dimmed. Puff, puff, puff. At the same time, in the human camp, black figures suddenly appeared out of thin air. As soon as they appeared, a large number of cultivators around them were instantly slashed by daggers. Their throats were instantly cut open and their souls were shattered. Many cultivators controlling the formation diagrams were directly assassinated. The assassins came and went like ghosts. Not good, it's the Dark Knight elf assassins. All cultivators in the formation army teleport away from the battle. Darksword army, pair blossom rain needles. Immediately, an expert began to give the order, and the formation masters all teleported to the back. At the same time, a pair of black-robed soldiers appeared. Light flashed in their hands, and hundreds of millions of tiny needles shot into the void, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Screams rang out in the void as the Dark Knight assassins were pierced through by the countless needles, turning into honeycombs. Hundreds of thousands of Dark Knight elves died on the spot. However, right after that, shadows shuttled through the void, charging into the human army with astonishing speed. Their sharp assassination methods were displayed in a dazzling manner. A large number of cultivators couldn't resist at all and were assassinated on the spot. Cultivators were cut up like straws. Woo woo woo. The 9 Underworld demonic wind broke through the formation diagrams one by one. It blew towards the purple gold mainland. 10,000 miles, ice seal. The Heavenly Curse army didn't stay idle. They cast a talisman at the same time. Immediately, the entire void was filled with icy cold air that spread at a crazy speed, attacking the demonic clouds. Roar! Under the absolute frost, the demonic dragons were frozen into huge ice sculptures. They fell from the void and landed on the heaven and earth divine bridge, shattering into pieces. There was no sign of life at all. The demonic rain was frozen into ice rain. However, it still couldn't completely stop the attack of the terrifying demonic formation. For the purple gold mainland, for the future generations, kill. There's nothing to be afraid of. Kill one, and you'll be a hero. Kill 100, and you'll be a dragon. Kill. Charge, kill these demonic bastards, and charge to the demonic god continent. The purple gold mainland had also started to erupt. One by one, the races launched a frenzied attack. The Thunder God tribe, the Sky Fire tribe, and the Giant tribe all rushed into the battlefield and clashed with the demonic god army. In an instant, the entire heaven and earth divine bridge had become the main battlefield. At this moment, there were no more words. There was only one thought in the minds of all the experts on the battlefield, and that was to kill all the enemies in front of them. If the enemy didn't die, then they would die. Rumble. In the end, no matter if it was the purple gold mainland or the demonic god continent, once they were on the brink of death, they didn't hesitate and directly self-destructed while hugging an enemy. The sounds of self-destruction didn't seem to stop for a moment. Every single race erupted with terrifying battle prowess. All kinds of Dharma treasures, weapons, and spells were thrown at the other party. Every moment, there was a huge number of lives being lost. At this moment, it was truly a scene of life being worthless. Every moment, there were tens of millions of experts dying. Regardless of whether it was the purple gold mainland or the demonic god continent, there were huge numbers of warriors rushing onto the heaven and earth divine bridge at every moment. The entire battlefield was just like a meat grinder. There was no difference at all. How can we, the primordial god fiends, miss out on such a lively scene? TSK. The purple gold mainland is such a big world. If not for the demon race charging into the chaos space in the ancient times and forcing us to sign an alliance, we would have arrived long ago. Now that the demon race is no longer around and the human race is the main character, the alliance is no longer valid for us. Men, let's slaughter the purple gold mainland. At this moment in the chaos space, there was a violent tumble. Countless islands appeared out of thin air, and from within, huge primordial god fiends emerged one after another. They revealed ferocious expressions and quickly approached the heaven and earth divine bridge. Among these primordial god fiends, even the weakest one was an ancient giant. These were all races created by the primordial god fiends that were born first. However, their combat power was equally strong. The primordial god fiends had joined the battle. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1275. The immemorial god fiends were a major force that no one could ignore. Their strength was definitely not inferior to the purple gold mainland and the demon god continent. They were born from the primal chaos and were born with a powerful bloodline. Although the god fiends that came later were races created by the first batch of immemorial god fiends with their own bloodline, they still had the bloodline of the immemorial god fiends. However, he also had the blood of fiend gods in his body, and his battle prowess was extraordinary. In the ancient times, it was the demon race who resisted and forced them to sign the covenant. Otherwise, the war in the ancient times wouldn't have ended so easily. Now, looking at the thousands and thousands of god fiends rushing up the heaven and earth bridge, the entire purple gold mainland changed color instantly. Countless cultivators felt as if a bolt from the blue had struck their minds. They were dizzy from the explosion. What? Isn't it only the demon god continent? Why would the immemorial god fiends target our purple gold mainland and join the invasion? What's going on? The immemorial god fiends are a powerful force comparable to the demon god continent. Why would they help the demon gods? Is the heavens really trying to destroy our purple gold mainland this time? The immemorial covenant? The immemorial god fiends and the demon race had in covenant in the ancient times. No wonder no immemorial god fiends appeared on the battlefield. It was the demon race who stopped their plan. They forced them to sign the covenant. The demon race. It turns out that the demon race had done so much for our purple gold mainland in the ancient times. The demon race had done a great service to our purple gold mainland. No wonder the demon race was so heartless. It wasn't the demon race that was heartless. It was the various races that were heartless to them. The human race was even more heartless. The heavens and earth were unfair. Who could take this line down? Entering the primal chaos, forcing the immemorial god fiends, and resisting the demon god army. Yet they never said anything. The demon race shouldered the responsibility of being the overlord of the heavens and earth. With such great service, they suffered such a decline. Who wouldn't be angry? Who wouldn't hate them? It turns out that no one in our purple gold mainland had the right to blame them. Not the human race, not the various races, not even the heavens and earth. The matters of the primal chaos in the ancient times were a secret that only a small number of experts in the purple gold mainland knew. Now that the immemorial god fiends had exposed it, countless experts who had previously suppressed the demon race were trembling. They were being ungrateful and biting the hand that fed them. It was no wonder that the hearts of the demonic beasts were so deeply wounded. Countless human cultivators were also reflecting. Have we really done something wrong? We are biting the hand that feeds us. Are we worse than beasts? No, we didn't do anything wrong. We humans are the protagonists of the world, the eternal protagonists. The Yao race is just the past. The future belongs to us humans, for the prosperity of our race. So what if we did something wrong? However, many human cultivators did not feel that this was wrong at all. In the face of the prosperity of the race, there was no right or wrong. Azure Lotus Sword Guards kill. Evil Wind Legion move out. Yin Yang Dao soldiers attack. 5 Elements Dao soldiers go to battle. 8 Trigrams Heavenly soldiers kill. Arhat Buddhist soldiers quickly subdue the demon. Demon exterminating Buddhist armaments, exterminating demon gods. Kill the enemy. Rumble. In the human territory, huge rifts opened up one after another. Huge armies were hidden in each of the rifts. The number of soldiers in each army was in the billions. It was a huge number. Every soldier in each army exuded a fierce, murderous aura. These were soldiers who had truly seen blood. They were elites who had crawled out of corpses. The huge army instantly entered the battlefield. Instantly, it gave the entire purple gold mainland a boost of confidence. Every army had a strong combat strength. The Yin Yang army was made up of 2 ancestors, 1 male and 1 female. They displayed the destructive power of the Yin Yang battle technique. The 8 Trigrams army was made up of 8 people. Once activated, they could immediately set up an 8 Trigrams array. Every army had a shocking combat strength. The situation of the battle had reached an unimaginable white-hot state. Whether it was the purple gold mainland or the demon gods, the number of soldiers that had entered the battlefield was almost inestimable. Moreover, there was still an endless stream of soldiers. Every moment, billions of strong cultivators entered the battlefield. This was a huge war of trillions, tens of trillions, hundreds of trillions, and even thousands of trillions. Blood had already dyed the sky red. Ha! Purple Gold Mainland. Are there any strong cultivators who dare to come and fight? I heard that the humans have stolen the protagonists of the world. Are there any human cultivators who dare to come and fight? Could it be that you're so scared that you don't dare to come out, so you're sending these small fries to their deaths? Tis TSK, in my opinion, the humans definitely don't have the guts. I heard that the humans have always liked to fight among themselves. They're dragons to their own people and worms to their enemies. Back in the ancient times, they even rebelled against the demon gods. It was good that they rebelled. If it weren't for them, who knows how many soldiers we would have lost. It wouldn't be so easy to go against the demon gods. Those lunatics from the demon gods might just directly attack our demon gods continent. Speaking of which, we should thank the humans. Rumble. In the demon gods continent, demon gods that exuded the might of the sky demon directly crossed the void and appeared on the divine bridge of heaven and earth. They did not care about the invasion of the chaotic chi at all. In the chaos, they walked step by step toward the purple gold mainland. At a glance, there were tens of thousands of demon emperors walking forward with all kinds of mocking words. They even let out a series of provocative shouts. Tens of thousands of demon emperors from different races walked over together. That kind of pressure was comparable to the previous annihilation tide. The aura of death appeared on countless living beings. This was the powerful foundation of the demon god's continent. This was a terrifying power that could destroy everything in its path. Demon gods, don't be so arrogant. Watch out for my race's divine artifacts. The provocation of the demon gods naturally provoked the humans' counterattack. In an instant, supreme divine artifacts filled with powerful pressure appeared. Inside each divine artifact, there were close to 10 demon emperors controlling it. They unleashed the strongest power of the divine artifacts. They exploded with the most terrifying destructive power. Kill, kill, kill. Following that, there were also many demon emperors that accompanied the divine artifacts. Not including those in the divine artifacts, there were close to 300 of them. Every one of them was protected by various powerful, innate spiritual treasures. They were armed to the teeth. All kinds of Dharma treasures exuded powerful pressure. Everyone, let's attack together. The demon god's continent has already bullied us. How can we tolerate it any longer? Let's fight it out with them. That's right. Let's charge. Even if we die, let's take 1 or 2 down with us. Numerous peerless experts soared into the sky from various regions and rushed towards the chaos. At this critical moment of life and death, none of them had the slightest bit of hope. There was only one solution, and that was to fight to the end. The three-eyed divine race, skeleton race, Azura race, zombie race, winged race, sky fire race, lightning race, giant race, beastmen race, and many other races no longer held back. Each tribe had several demon emperors. Over 100 tribes had gathered close to 600 demon emperors. They all entered the chaos with ferocious killing intent. Rumble. Although all the almighties in the entire purple gold mainland had been mobilized, there were only 1,000 almighties. Compared to the tens of thousands of almighties, they were simply too weak to be measured. However, the 10 supreme divine artifacts had erupted with astonishing power at the same time. Every one of them could contend against a half-step ruler. Hundreds of millions of green lotus sword chi shot out from the myriad green lotus and swept towards the large group of demon emperors. The supreme divine artifacts that were fully unleashed tore the demon emperor's body to shreds on the spot. In the book of righteousness, the shocking righteousness turned into a sword of righteousness and slashed at the demon gods. However, the number of demon gods was enormous. Each supreme divine artifact was surrounded by hundreds of peerless experts. All kinds of attacks rained down on the supreme divine artifacts. There were signs that the supreme divine artifacts would be blasted into pieces. The chaos chi in the surroundings churned violently. All kinds of attacks shattered the chaos chi. At the same time, in the depths of the chaos chi, there was another scene. 9 gigantic devil palaces stood side by side. At the same time, a gigantic immortal gray divine artifact, the sovereign domain, blocked the chaos. The 7 sovereigns of the supreme ancient era stood solemnly in the air above the sovereign domain. In front of the demon palaces and the supreme divine realm stood 3 rulers. The demon master, destiny, and space. They stood side by side. Behind them, a mysterious image appeared. It was a mysterious ancient tomb that was faintly discernible behind them. Every time it flashed, it brought with it a terrifying pressure that could shatter the chaos chi. It was fighting against the 9 demon ancestors and 7 primordial supremes. Destiny, are you going to stop us today? You should know that the demon god continent has joined forces with the primordial god fiends. The strength we possess is far from what the purple gold continent can withstand. In the entire chaos chi, other than us rulers, the rest are mere ants. If you are willing to give up on the purple gold continent, we can drink and chat merrily today. There is no need to harm the harmony, so as to avoid any damage. The lifeless demon Ancestor looked at the 3 rulers and said in a deep voice. There seemed to be room for negotiation in his words. However, those words were spoken from a commanding position. At this moment, they had the absolute advantage in terms of strength. Here, There was no hope of destroying their fighting spirit and belief. Oomph. The demon master let out a disdainful snort. He glanced at the experts and sneered. Ants. If they are ants, then weren't we all ants before we became rulers? In that case, what right do you have to obliterate the lives of others? Lifeless, do you really think that the purple gold continent is afraid of you? Human ancestor, if you don't come out now, when are you going to wait? The space dominus shouted resolutely. Rumble. The chaos chi trembled, and heavy footsteps could be heard. A cold stone man that shone with golden light stepped on the chaos chi. The surrounding chaos chi collapsed, and countless worlds shattered under his feet. The history of human civilization was transmitted from his body. Countless praises reverberated. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1276. A vast history of civilization appeared around him. The origin of the entire human race, its development, growth, reproduction, and finally becoming the main character of the universe. Scenes of history flashed on the human ancestor's body. It was the gathering of the power of an entire race, the faith of an entire civilization. All the power was gathered on his body, causing him to emit a majestic aura that spread across the entire chaos. Vaguely, he was the supreme ruler of the universe, controlling the rise and fall of all living things. It was as though his power was increasing with every passing moment. There seemed to be a mysterious power that was continuously pouring into his body. Late-stage ruler. What a great human ancestor. However, with just a human ancestor, do you think you could stop us? The fallen demon ancestor, who had 36 pairs of black wings on his back, sneered. The wings on his back flapped gently, causing the surrounding chaos chi to tumble and shatter, turning into countless depraved chi that wrapped around his wings. On his handsome face, there was a cold light. However, we should thank the human ancestor. If not for him, we would be facing the entire demon race, that lunatic demon emperor, and an immortal city demon court. This is a great opportunity for us to divide and conquer. Later, we must entertain the human ancestor well. The formless demon ancestor sneered. Cut the crap. Beat the human ancestor and the demon master into dogs. Fight! The blood prison devil ancestor's eyes shone with a sinister light. With a cold shout, he waved his hand, and an ice-cold blood coffin appeared behind him. Within the blood coffin, there was a trace of a supreme will that wanted to bury all the heavens. It was as if the blood coffin itself was an ice-cold blood prison. Countless living beings were groaning in pain. Rumble! The blood coffin charged towards the demon master. The ancient demonic chi showed signs of wanting to bury the demon master in the coffin. A majestic aura came crashing down with the blood coffin. Good timing. Blood prison, I didn't kill you in the ancient times. Today, I'll send you to the Western Paradise. Extermination of the 10 forces. The demon lord's black hair danced wildly behind his head. When he saw the blood coffin coming towards him, he laughed out loud. His demonic aura was majestic. A light flashed in his hands, and a pair of black gloves appeared on his hands. He threw a punch at the blood coffin. Under the punch, all the energy was destroyed. The chaotic chi was shattered and turned into dust. With a supreme demonic will that could destroy all things in the world, it blasted onto the blood coffin without holding back. Rumble! Inside that blood coffin, there seemed to be infinite power. It was made of some unknown material and was extremely hard. It was even a top natural supreme treasure, but when it was struck by the demon lord's punch, it immediately exploded with a violent, destructive force. The chaos in the surrounding thousands of miles was twisted and rioted. After only a moment of stalemate, the blood coffin was smashed backward. Demon Master, don't be so arrogant. Today is the day you die. A pitch-black devil sword appeared in the hands of the fallen devil ancestor. On this devil sword, there were countless diagrams of the fallen devil god, forming ancient devil runes. The fallen devil sword slashed towards the devil lord with astonishing speed. As the demonic sword moved, countless fallen demon gods let out a resounding hymn of praise. The history of civilization that accompanied the fallen demon god. With a single slash, the chaos was split apart. A piece of heaven and earth was opened up under the slash of the sword. Following that, it was annihilated into nothingness. It was as though a fallen devil Tao was falling down. What was a sovereign? A sovereign was an existence that controlled the Tao of heaven and earth. Each of them had their own Tao. If two sovereigns were to fight, it would be as though two different Taos of heaven and earth were clashing. Every strike would have a mighty force that could collapse heaven and earth. Then, the moment the fallen devil ancestor struck, the immense pressure instantly increased by several folds. However, the devil lord was still as cold as ever. He stretched out his finger and jabbed towards the devil's sword. Rumble. Under the joint attack of two devil ancestors, the body of the devil lord trembled slightly. Obviously, it brought about immense pressure. Lifeless demon ancestor, I'll leave these three sovereigns to the 9 of you. As for the human ancestor, leave it to us. When the great void supreme being saw the start of the battle, a glint flashed across his eyes as he laughed heartily. All right, fate, space, the battle in the ancient times was not decided. This time, let's continue the battle. Lifeless demon ancestor said resolutely. Rumble. Without any words, all the devil ancestors moved and swept towards the three sovereigns. Every three devil ancestors fought fiercely with one sovereign. The 9 devil ancestors were all late-stage sovereigns, infinitely close to the pinnacle level. As for the devil lord and the other 2 sovereigns, they were at the pinnacle of sovereigns. However, when facing the 3 devil ancestors alone, they were at a disadvantage. They were suppressed. Human ancestor, kill. The great void supreme being only smiled calmly. With a wave of his hand, the entire sovereign god domain smashed towards the human ancestor. It was as though a huge divine mountain was crushing down. In front of the sovereign god domain, the human ancestor's huge body was like an ant. The majestic pressure made even the sovereigns feel suffocated. Kill. The human ancestor's eyes shot out a terrifying golden light. The history of humanity shone brightly as a golden stone spear suddenly appeared in his hand. This stone spear exuded a forbidden aura. Rumble. The stone spear smashed towards the sovereign god, domain domineeringly. Under the spear, the chaos collapsed. Countless elements of earth, fire, water, and wind surged crazily like a tide. Boundless power of faith appeared crazily on the stone spear, condensing the boundless faith and will of the entire human race. It was like a vast river, carrying with it a towering divine light. It blasted towards the sovereign god domain, as though it wanted to completely penetrate the sovereign god domain. For a moment, one could clearly see a huge continent, emitting 7-colored divine light, crashing towards the sovereign god domain. A giant with a stone spear in his hand wanted to pierce through the oncoming continent. However, when the two collided, a series of violent rumbles shattered the chaos. The sovereign god domain shook slightly, but the divine light on the stone spear dissipated. The human ancestor's entire body slammed down, and he was blasted hundreds of thousands of feet away. In an instant, the human ancestor's light was defeated. Kill, kill, kill. Eternal prosperity of the human Tao. The human ancestor roared, his feet moving in a domineering manner. He was like an ancient war god, waving his battle spear and fiercely waving it towards the sovereign god domain. In the Lingxiao Palace, that mirror could see everything clearly, even if it was in the chaos. In the blink of an eye, the battle and the chaos was completely displayed. However, when they saw the scene of the fierce battle, none of the experts in the palace relaxed or felt relieved. Instead, they looked grave. Your Majesty, it seems that the purple gold continent is in trouble this time. Although the 3 sovereigns are powerful, they are all peak sovereigns. With the divine tomb, it is not easy for them to remain undefeated against the three of them. Moreover, the human ancestor is completely defeated against the sovereign god domain. There is no chance of victory. If this goes on, I am afraid that this battle will be lost very soon. Mengshi looked solemnly at the battle in the chaos. The difference in strength between the two sides was too great. The demon god continent and the primordial god fiend continent joined forces, and their strength was immeasurable. This was a strength that could destroy all obstacles. On the demon god continent side, they had an overwhelming advantage. Monster Emperor, are we really not going to do anything? The lightning ancestor took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the image in the ancient mirror. Wait a little longer. There wasn't any change in Sakura's face as he calmly uttered a sentence. His words carried great authority, and all the important ministers calmed down. Di Shirtian looked at the ancient mirror and thought to himself, this is definitely not the strength of the purple gold continent. The human race also has a divine tomb, and it must have given birth to a supreme sovereign. Now that the battle has begun, this hidden supreme sovereign will have no choice but to show himself. Ding, ding, ding. At this moment, in the human territory, a strange image of countless coins appeared in the void. These coins fell from the sky and collided with each other, emitting a crisp sound and radiating a dazzling light. The countless coins piled up to form a huge golden mountain. On top of it was a man dressed in a long golden robe. A middle-aged man with a smile on his face stood on the golden mountain. His long robe was printed with the image of countless coins, and in his hand was a coin with wings. Pinch Qian Xiao, stepping on a huge gold ingot, he turned into a beam of golden light and shot toward the chaos. When he passed by the divine bridge of heaven and earth, the gold ingot under his feet emitted a mysterious Taoist rhyme. Countless gold ingots, silver ingots, copper coins, and coins fell like a tide toward the densely packed demon gods. Gold ingot, damn, I've been smashed to death. Smashed to death by money, I died so unjustly. Every single coin was as heavy as the heavens and earth. When they smashed down, the powerful demonic god's demonic body was smashed into pieces and shot out in all directions. They died on the spot, smashed to death by money. The demon gods let out sullen roars of anger. The god of money is the ruler of the human race, the god of money. The god of money has also entered the chaos. We definitely won't lose this time. Kill. Kill. These damned demon gods, primordial god fiends, all of them should die. On the divine bridge of heaven and earth, the battlefield had already reached an unimaginable level of devastation. Even if the god of money directly intervened, he still could not stop the allied army's attack. However, the 100 races of the heavens had also stimulated the bloodlust in their bodies. On the battlefield, they could not use any battle techniques, only the most primitive slashes. Every strike was a killing move. There was nothing fancy about it. However, the endless army of the demon god continent and the countless warriors of the primordial god fiends were like the last straw that broke the camel's back. Even if countless cultivators of the purple gold mainland desperately blocked with their flesh and blood, one could still clearly see that the battle line was pushing forward inch by inch, closing in on the purple gold mainland. An inch of land, an inch of blood. Under the allied army, the purple gold mainland was obviously at a disadvantage. All kinds of tragic deaths appeared one after another. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1277. Every cultivator who participated in the battle held the determination to die. At the moment of their death, they only hoped to maximize the results of the battle as much as possible and drag down a few enemies with them. The rumbling sounds of self-detonation almost never stopped for a moment. The demon god continent was already stronger than the purple gold mainland. Now, with the addition of the primordial god fiends, the situation had changed drastically. The dawn of victory was beckoning to the demon gods. However, The purple gold mainland had no way out. On the battlefield, there was no retreat. Even if the demon gods took a step forward, they would have to pay the price of blood. Deity, celestial soldiers go all out. Kill all the enemies at all costs. Rumble. At this moment, a loud horn sounded again among the humans. A huge divine palace appeared out of thin air. In the divine palace, there was an endless amount of power of faith. Countless pious prayers were heard. An orderly army stood in the divine palace. Every soldier did not seem to be made of ordinary flesh and blood. Instead, their bodies exuded a unique power of faith. It was as if they were divine bodies, not ordinary flesh and blood. Every soldier wore snow-white armor and held a holy white battle spear in their hands. In their eyes, there was an endless fanaticism. It was a fanaticism and fearlessness that showed they were ready to sacrifice themselves at any time. Every soldier exuded a strange aura that surpassed the ancient giants, but could not be compared to the unparalleled experts. Their strength was hard to fathom. There were more than 10 billion of these deity celestial soldiers. The leading generals were comparable to the unparalleled experts. We are the messengers of the gods who walk the earth. We penetrate the will of the gods and kill all the enemies of the gods. We are the warriors of the gods. We have the will to not die. Kill, kill, kill. The deity, celestial soldiers sang the praises of the gods. Stepping on the snow-white path formed by the power of faith, they walked straight up to the divine bridge of heaven and earth. The battle spears in their hands were pointed straight at every demon god. Kill. When they reached the divine bridge of heaven and earth, all the deity, celestial soldiers threw out their battle spears. Rumble. One spear after another shot out, imbued with boundless faith power and holy power. Instantly, a large number of demon gods were pierced through by the spears. Each one of them was incredibly cold, and their eyes were filled with fanaticism. They didn't even care about the demon gods in front of them, and instead simply marched forward in unison, thrusting their spears out in unison. It was like the coldest killing machine in the world. The condensed aura was like an avalanche. No matter how strong the demon gods were, they were pierced by thousands of battle spears. The holy power in the battle spears directly destroyed their bodies, and they were crushed into pieces. Like a bulldozer, they pushed forward. A large number of fiend celestials were killed as if they were mowing grass. Their powerful battle prowess and cold discipline made the deity's heavenly soldiers the most eye-catching point of the battlefield. The demon god shall be slain. One expert after another rushed into the battlefield. Among the humans, the 6 great Tao ancestors and 3 great Buddhist ancestors appeared one after another. They were all powerful half-step dominator-level existences and issued cold judgments. They headed toward the peerless level battlefield. The battle between peerless cultivators was even more intense. Every peerless cultivator was a peerless genius. At that moment, the almighty cultivators from the Violet Gold continent were all severely injured. Their bodies were all injured. Edited by Lifer, Finger Fox, they were shattered, but they immediately reformed. Pieces of flesh and blood splattered into the sky. However, every time the body reformed, it would cause the imprint and will in the flesh and blood to be damaged. Once it was completely worn out, the body would really collapse, and then they would really die. Thousands of Almighties faced tens of thousands of demon emperors. Even if they had 10 supreme divine artifacts to resist, they were still beaten into retreat. In a short time, no less than a few Almighties were beaten to death. Their bodies collapsed, and blood stained the sky. TSK, TSK. A human expert has finally appeared. Let me measure your strength. A demon emperor saw that another human expert had appeared. He licked his lips, and a pitch-black skull in his hand instantly enlarged into a skull that was millions of feet in size. He smashed it toward the Taishang Dao Ancestor. Love extinguishing finger. The Taishang Dao Ancestor was riding on the back of a green bull. Seeing the skull that carried the might of the sky demon, his expression did not change at all. He only calmly spat out a few words. He stretched out his right hand and jabbed a finger straight at the skull. Crack! That finger directly pierced through the skull and stabbed into the Demon Emperor's body. With a crisp sound, the Demon Emperor's entire body was destroyed inch by inch at a speed visible to the naked eye. That finger had completely destroyed the Demon Emperor's demon soul and wiped out all of his will. Forget emotions. Extinguish emotions. Extinguish emotions. Extinguish desires. Being emotionless and desireless was death. One love-extinguishing finger had directly killed a Demon Emperor. Half-step sovereign? Where is the half-step demon ancestor of our demon god continent? Countless demon emperors could tell the difference at a glance, and they all shouted loudly, "Oof! Taishang Dao Ancestor, take this." A blood-colored saber light, like a long blood-colored river, descended from the sky and slashed toward the Taishang Dao Ancestor. It collided with the love-extinguishing finger, causing the void to be destroyed. The bloody saber demon, who was standing on a blood-colored saber lotus, suddenly appeared. Following behind him was the sacrificial ancestor, who was standing on a huge black altar. He broke through the void with a cold smile. Behind him, close to 100 demon god ancestors who had the same aura as them crossed the void and arrived. For the purple gold mainland, for the people of the world, the star tribe will not hesitate to die. Kill! The star ancestor crossed the stars, holding the star banner in his hand. With a fearless aura, he coldly charged forward. "Ha! Demon brats, you have come the right time. Let me see if you are still as weak as you were in the ancient times." The Blood Sea Lord stepped on the Blood Sea and arrived. He could not stop laughing. "Sons of the Beast Tribe, kill. This battle is the time to prove your courage. Go, kill these demon brats, and prove that the Beast Tribe's bravery is unparalleled in the world." Countless Beast Tribe warriors covered the sky and swept over like a tide. They entered the divine bridge of heaven and earth. There were hundreds of billions of Beast Tribe warriors. Their numbers were huge, and they roared as they charged into the battlefield with a barbaric beast chi. A large group of Beast Tribe almighties also charged toward the unparalleled battlefield. The Beast Ancestor was a huge golden beast king. He held a battle axe and charged forward like a giant. The elites of the various clans all charged out. When one died, 10 immediately charged out. Although the Beast Tribe was losing, it was impossible to determine the winner in such a short time. They were still fighting fiercely. "Demon God, you have bullied the purple gold mainland too much. I did not fight with you in the ancient times. Let's see who is stronger this time." Rumble. A vortex tore open in the void. A pitch-black sovereign appeared in the vortex. Dense ghost chi and corpse chi intertwined, forming a strange energy. Below his feet, 2 huge nether dragons roared at the sky. The dragons turned and charged toward Hundun. It was the Fengdu Ghost Emperor who was cultivating in the underworld. Vaguely, a huge divine tomb loomed behind his back. It exuded a pressure that could topple heaven and earth. In the primal chaos, intense clashes erupted almost every moment. The 3 sovereigns were fighting against the 9 great demon ancestors. Although they seemed to be in a disadvantageous position, they were still able to hold on. On the other hand, the human ancestor was repeatedly sent flying by the supreme god domain. If not for the human ancestor's strong physical body, he would have been smashed into pieces. Rumble. A huge gold ingot smashed toward the sovereign god domain. It stopped the sovereign god domain that was about to suppress the human ancestor. "Human ancestor, I have come to fight with you." The god of money in a golden robe appeared beside the human ancestor and said, "Human god cultivator, god of money, and someone who has a divine tomb has come." "Good, very good. You are just a mid-stage sovereign. So what if you have a divine tomb? I can kill you and take it. Only we primordial sovereigns are qualified to have a divine item like the divine tomb." A gleam of light flashed through the radiant God King's eyes. He stared at the projection of the divine tomb behind him. He exuded a strong desire and desire. "Oof! My violet gold continent's most precious treasure is not something you, primordial, godly demons, can covet. Do you dare to come out and fight this emperor? The chaos churned, and the ghost emperor of Fengdu roared. The burly body of the ghost emperor of Fengdu quickly broke through the air and appeared in the chaos battlefield. When he saw the huge, sovereign divine domain blocking the void, he couldn't help but shout coldly, "To hegemons?" In the end, the purple gold continent had improved since the ancient times. However, you alone may not be able to stop us. Forefather Terminator let out a strange cry. He stared at them with a gaze that seemed to be capable of destroying the world. Rumble. At the edge of the battlefield, there was another violent commotion. Countless weapons rang out, piercing through the primal chaos. Terrifying killing intent pierced through the sun and moon. The boundless primal chaos shattered inch by inch. A gigantic demonic body that was millions of feet tall appeared in front of them. It had a total of 3,000 pairs of wings and 3,000 arms. It was a terrifying demonic god that was formed from countless weapons, standing tall in the primal chaos. His eyes were filled with a cold expression. Weapon Ancestor. The ghost emperor of Fengdu's face was filled with a solemn expression as he felt the sharp killing intent that could pierce through his body. He slowly uttered those words. He couldn't help but be shocked. The weapon Ancestor had actually broken through to the demon Ancestor realm. Ghost Emperor of Fengdu, our battle in the ancient times has yet to end. This time, we will fight to the death. Sharp killing intent shot out from the weapon Ancestor's eyes. His body was like a terrifying killing machine. He was born to kill. After surviving the great ancient calamity, he had improved by leaps and bounds and had broken through to the Wushang demon Ancestor realm. His appearance at this moment was indeed a huge deterrent. He was a terrifying expert that defied the natural order. TSK, TSK. How can I, Shueini, miss out on such a great battle? God of money, how about our battle? I want to know how strong the master of the divine tomb is. Splash. The sound of flowing water could be heard in the chaos. Above a sea of blood, a blood-red figure with an evil expression issued a challenge with deep meaning. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1278. Blood God, you were almost killed in the ancient times. Today, you managed to turn the tables and become a demon ancestor. However, you have just become a demon ancestor. Even if you have a shortcut in your cultivation, you're only at the mid-stage of the demon ancestor realm, which is the same as me. However, I have the godly tomb, so it will be difficult for you to defeat me. The god of money chuckled as if he was trying to make money out of amiability, but his tone was sharp and unyielding. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Blood God's 7 slashes, God slaying. The evil smile on Shueini's face didn't change at all. The sea of blood below him was monstrous, and a blood-colored weapon appeared out of thin air. This weapon was like a blade and a sword, but there were millions upon millions of souls on it that were letting out miserable cries. They were constantly struggling and letting out miserable cries of agony. He swung the sword casually, but there was a natural killing intent of the blood Tao in it. This was the will to slay gods. Under my sword, even gods would be slain. Golden sword. Money God's face was cheerful. With a flash of light in his hand, countless golden coins quickly gathered together in a strange way and condensed into a glittering battle sword. The power of gold in the sword carried the supreme will of the money Tao of heaven and earth. The sword slashed out directly. Money can make ghosts push millstones. Money can make gods move. The power of the Tao of money pierced through the heavens and the earth. When the sword was swung, it was as if one could see the vast history of civilization. Countless thoughts and beliefs of money pierced through the boundaries of time and space, and they carried a unique corrosive energy. It made people feel like they were worshiping money, and they had fallen. Rumble. The sword and saber collided, and the condensed saber energy and sword energy created a crack in the chaos. Weapon Ancestor, let's fight again. The Ghost Emperor of Fengdu had a cold expression. His black hair danced behind his head, and a snow-white ancient painting appeared in his hand. There seemed to be another space in the painting, and there were countless powerful ghosts and gods roaring furiously. Endless energy was poured into this 100-ghost parade painting. With a cracking sound, a snow-white, ghostly hand emerged from the ancient diagram. It was a ghostly hand formed by the power of countless ghostly gods. It slammed down towards the weapon Ancestor. Kill! If this ghostly hand were to strike down, the entire Zijin continent would be in danger of shattering. However, the weapon Ancestor only spat out a single word. The wings on his back merged together and transformed into a gigantic demonic blade. Then he slashed down at the ghostly hand with lightning-like speed. Clang! When the two collided, metal and stone clashed. The ghostly hand and demonic saber were both defeated at the same time. However, the moment they exchanged blows, the two of them began to fight without any hesitation. Purple Gold Continent, Demon God Continent, Humph. Sure enough, they have hidden their strength and have yet to reveal it. The battle has just begun, and two new rulers have already appeared. I'm afraid that this might not be the true strength and foundation of the two continents. The Demon God Continent might not be completely at ease with us. This battle will determine whether we can obtain the greatest benefits. A meaningful look flashed across the radiant God King's face. It's not like we don't have any trump cards. When the time comes, we can still use that trump card. We still have wisdom. She must have gained something by going into seclusion. When she comes out of seclusion, we will have another trump card. The Great Void Supreme being spoke with the other primordial sovereigns through his spiritual consciousness as he looked at the human ancestor, who was being pushed back by the sovereign god realm. Although the sovereign god realm was constantly clashing with the human ancestor and was at a disadvantage, the primordial sovereigns did not take action personally. Otherwise, the situation would be completely one-sided. The battle would be out of control. It seemed like the primordial sovereigns were waiting for something. That's right. Wisdom's words are too important to us. If it's true, even if there's a possibility of us dying, we will still take the risk. We have been stuck in the sovereign realm for countless years. This is our only chance to break free. The illusory heavenly lady said solemnly. It was as if this battle was not as simple as it appeared on the surface. Not enough. It's not enough. We must let the hidden strength of the purple gold continent and the demon god continent explode. We must succeed in this battle. The dark goddess slowly uttered these words. Rumble. The sovereign god realm suppression of the human ancestor continued to increase. It seemed to be exerting pressure on the human ancestor. At this time, the battle on the divine bridge of heaven and earth took a shocking turn. Countless cultivators and demonic gods were cast onto the divine bridge. The human race's army of gods and the beast race's army of beasts were thrown into the battlefield. Although it slowed down the attacks of the demonic gods and the army of gods and demons, the situation was still not optimistic. What was even worse was that the demonic god continent did not care about any rules. Among the tens of thousands of demon emperors on the peerless battlefield, a group of 3,000 demon emperors charged into the divine bridge of heaven and earth. The terrifying Dark Knight assassins crazily reaped lives. No matter how strong the divine heavenly army was, it suffered heavy losses in a short time. The 3,000 demon emperors stabbed into the purple gold continent's defensive line like a dagger, forcibly opening a terrifying gap. Countless demon gods rushed in, and the primordial divine heavenly army, whose physical bodies were stronger than the demon gods, almost fell on the spot. Even if they self-destructed, it was difficult to stop the demon gods. The divine heavenly army was smashed into powder. Their souls were scattered, and they were swept into the gates of hell. The terrifying momentum of defeat enveloped the entire purple gold continent like a breached dam. Kill! 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 Tragic, murderous cries filled the entire void like a tide. In the peerless battlefield, the 10 supreme artifacts were engaged in a fierce battle with hundreds of demon emperors. No matter how strong the artifacts were, they could not fight against such a large number of demon emperors. They were beaten into retreat, but they stubbornly held on. All peerless experts of the human race, listen to my command. Merge the artifacts and ascend to the immortal realm. The Grand Supreme Tao Ancestor said expressionlessly. 10 supreme artifacts merge the origin. Eternal heaven realm, gather. The supreme artifacts erupted with mighty power at the same time, bursting with boundless sword chi and dazzling divine light. Suddenly, they turned into 10 dazzling suns in the sky above the void realm. They quickly approached each other and gathered at the center. With the kingdom of eternity as the center, the supreme artifacts entered it one after another. Eternity, eternity. Beams of divine light became unusually condensed and dazzling outside the kingdom of eternity in the blink of an eye. Countless heroic spirits of the human race appeared in the divine ring, singing praises to eternity. The myriad sword lotus, the black sky treasure case, the book of overwhelming righteousness, the compass of heavenly secrets, the jade vase, the 8 treasures pond of virtues and virtues, the 10,000 demons painting, and the great void wheel. The myriad Buddha's pagoda. They all merged into the kingdom of eternity, which was undergoing a shocking transformation. In the blink of an eye, a huge eternal heaven realm appeared in the void. Rumble. As soon as the eternal heaven realm formed, it exuded a powerful aura. It was the aura of an immortal artifact. The hundreds of peerless experts outside the artifact were crushed by the aura, their bodies collapsing. The void realm collapsed. 9 divine rings protected the eternal heaven realm. Inside, there was a boundless heaven realm. It was a completely different world. The eternal heaven realm had been forcibly fused, but it seemed to be suppressed by some terrifying divine object. It had forcibly fused 10 supreme paragon artifacts together, suppressing the power of the backlash. It was as if the eternal heaven realm had truly become an immortal artifact. It could continue to fuse without showing any signs of collapse. It's an immortal artifact. What a shocking plan by the humans. They actually fused 10 supreme paragon artifacts into an immortal artifact. This is wonderful. The violet gold continent is saved. A single immortal artifact is enough to stop tens of thousands of devil emperors. So, the humans have a trump card like this. The demon gods are going to panic. Hey, what are the humans up to? Why isn't the eternal heaven realm attacking the enemy? Why is it returning to the human stronghold? They're taking the humans into the eternal heaven realm. What are they trying to do? The eternal heaven realm appeared in front of the violet gold continent, the demon gods and the demon gods. Its majestic aura crushed even the devil emperors, forcing them to reconstruct their bodies. The entire violet gold continent was shaken. Just as they were about to start a massacre and drive out the demon gods, they saw the immortal artifact. Suddenly, it appeared in the human stronghold. Dazzling divine light sprinkled down from the eternal heaven realm, quickly enveloping countless humans. Whether they were cultivators or ordinary humans, they were all sucked into the eternal heaven realm at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the cities were taken away, leaving no trace behind. The sky was 3 feet taller than the sky. In the blink of an eye, countless humans had entered the eternal heaven realm. The all-heavens races, who had been looking forward to the emergence of the immortal grade divine weapon, were flabbergasted. What exactly was the human race trying to do? However, no matter what the other races thought, they couldn't stop the humans from entering the eternal heaven realm. It was as if the humans had been completely wiped off the face of the violet gold continent. Humans, what are you doing? What are you trying to do? On the divine bridge of heaven and earth, an Azura warrior with a demonic blade stabbed into his body roared at the sky. Humans, are you trying to run away? Have you no shame? The violet gold continent has raised you like a mother. You want to abandon her? A beastkin warrior hugged a demon god in a death grip. Moments before he self-detonated, he cried out in a blood-soaked voice. "This is war. Humans, are you trying to run away? You have an immortal artifact. Why don't you fight? Why?" Countless warriors questioned angrily. Every one of them had a bad feeling about the eternal heaven realm's sudden actions. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1279. This was a war of life and death, a war that concerned the lives of countless living beings on the purple gold continent. It was a war of life and death. In this war, almost every race was fighting with their lives on the line. They did not hesitate to self-detonate in order to stop the invasion of the demon gods. Such a war had reached a point where only one side would be wiped out. But now, the human race had forcibly created an immortal-grade divine tool. The first thing they thought of was not to inflict serious damage to the demon god army, but to forcibly take all the humans on the continent into the eternal heaven realm. What did this mean? What did it mean? Countless warriors of various races had a terrible guess in their hearts. They almost roared in anger. However, no matter how they roared or how angry they were, the human race showed no signs of stopping. All the humans were sucked into the eternal heaven realm. At the same time, the divine tool also appeared on the divine bridge of heaven and earth. With a sweep of its divine light, all the remaining human cultivators on the bridge were sucked into the eternal heaven realm. A huge force that had resisted the demon gods left just like that. This scene made countless cultivators feel like their guts were about to explode. They almost cursed on the spot. The primordial supremacy's sovereign divine realm is in the chaos battlefield. We humans will go to the chaos battlefield to check the sovereign divine realm. We humans are not afraid of war. The chaos battlefield is the main battlefield. An emotionless voice came from the eternal heaven realm. It seemed to be an explanation or an excuse. The divine tool did not linger on the battlefield at all. It really went into the chaos battlefield. Bastards, humans, you are shameless. The purple gold continent, you want to abandon it? You are shameless. You have been the protagonists of the world for hundreds of thousands of years. You grew up on the continent, but you abandoned it without hesitation. Are you still human? My skeleton race is truly frightened. You humans are truly a bunch of unreliable fellows. The heavens and earth are your fathers. You can even abandon your parents. Can you really be at ease? Can you really watch as the continent is invaded by the demon gods? You are so cruel. What nonsense about resisting the sovereign divine realm? It's all an excuse. If the purple gold continent is invaded, what's the use of resisting in the chaos battlefield? The continent is our foundation. Huh. No wonder the demonic beasts weren't willing to participate in the war. The demonic beasts had long predicted that the human race wasn't reliable. In the ancient times, they betrayed the demonic beasts. Now, they even betrayed the entire purple gold continent. Good, very good. We were all blind. Why didn't we protect the demonic beasts in the ancient times? If the demon race was here, they wouldn't have to suffer such a bitter fate today. I hate it. Damn demon bastard. Let's perish together. All the warriors who had witnessed the human race's decisive retreat, abandoning the entire violet gold continent, roared in anger. Everyone could see that the human race was abandoning the violet gold continent. Even if they really wanted to resist the Paragon God realm, all they needed to do was send the eternal celestial realm over. Why did they need to take all the human warriors with them? It was like taking off one's pants to fart. All of them were filled with regret. Why didn't they lend the demon race a helping hand in ancient times? Now, they also had a share of the bitter fruit. Haha, the human race is indeed a traitor. In the ancient times, they betrayed the demonic beasts. Now, they betrayed the entire violet gold continent. A bunch of gutless rats. Let's see how you can stop us without the human race. Brothers, charge into the violet gold continent. Take all the wealth. Without the human race, let's see how long your allied forces can stop us. This time, the violet gold continent is destined to fall. Only we, the demon gods, are the noblest race in the world. You ants, how can you stop us? This show is really good. The human race's temperament is really good. The human race is the friend of the demon gods. Countless warriors on the divine bridge of heaven and earth were stunned when they saw the human warriors leave. However, they reacted in the blink of an eye and laughed mockingly. Their eyes shone with a cruel light. The violet gold continent was already at a disadvantage. Now that the human race had retreated, the entire battle situation had turned into a one-sided situation. This was the humiliation of all the races in the world. The demonic beasts in the Lingxiao Palace were shocked when they saw this scene. However, they were not surprised for too long. In the blink of an eye, they revealed an expression that said they had expected it. Humph! I knew that the human race's traitors could not be trusted. Now that they have done such a shameless thing, it will be difficult for the violet gold continent to rely on the human race. Who laughed coldly. Haha, it's not the first time the human race has done such a thing. It's not surprising that they're doing it again. How can they not feel heartache when they see the strength and foundation of the human race being depleted quickly? Now that they have the eternal heaven realm, they have a chance to make a new choice. It's not surprising that they choose to abandon the violet gold continent. Tao Lord Divine Crow laughed contemptuously. He was full of disdain for the human race's actions. The continuation and prosperity of a race had to go through the test of blood and fire. Only then could it be reborn from the fire and shine even brighter. The human race always left a way out and did not give up everything to fight to the death. In the end, what it brought to the entire race was not an unyielding belief and spirit, but a kind of cowardice, a kind of luck, and a kind of irresponsible nature. Such a race would never be truly strong. Even if they were strong on the surface, they were just paper tigers. In a war, one must have the belief that they would die. The determination to die with the enemy and fight to the end. Once they retreated, what it brought to the entire race was a kind of inheritance and spirit that would retreat in the face of difficulties. This was a kind of humiliation that the demon race disdained. In ancient times, why could they force the primordial god fiends? That was because the demon race was not afraid of death and was determined to die. The belief that they would risk their lives. Your Majesty, the violet gold continent's 100 races can't hold on any longer. Mengshi took a few deep looks at the scene in the ancient mirror. The scene of the human race leaving was probably something that no living being on the violet gold continent would ever forget. It would never be washed away. That was a kind of humiliation. However, the retreat of the human race directly caused the situation on the battlefield to change drastically. The massive beast army at the front fought with the enemy without fear of death. They fiercely erupted with their strongest combat strength. Before they died, they were not afraid of death at all. They directly self-destructed to fight for a chance of victory for the violet gold continent. However, the pace of the god fiend was too terrifying. With the fiend emperor in the lead, they directly pushed forward inch by inch. They wantonly slaughtered without any intention of leaving anyone alive. The bloodstained battlefront was quickly defeated. A large number of cultivators from various races died, tragically under the hands of the god fiend. An aura of despair spread across the entire battlefield. However, all the armies did not give up resisting because of the departure of the human race. Instead, they became even crazier. There was despair in the madness. Kacha, a terrifying demon soldier, stabbed his battle sword into the body of an Azura clan warrior. That warrior did not care about his injuries at all. He let out a sinister laugh and fiercely punched the body of the Azura clan warrior, causing the demon body to explode. At the same time, he shouted to the sky, "Demon race, demon emperor, please open your eyes and look at the continent before you. We owe the demon race. Today, I beg the demon emperor with my blood to show mercy and save all lives on the violet gold continent. I hate the human race." This warrior directly hugged a demonic dragon expert and self-destructed. His blood splattered into the sky, bringing with it a tragic yet beautiful color. It was as if he was pleading to the heavens. Demon Emperor, Only the demon race can resist the violet gold continent. I beg your majesty to see that we are all born of the violet gold continent and save the violet gold continent. I will use my blood to wash away the anger of your majesty and the demon race. A beast expert directly bit off the neck of a god fiend. He kowtowed to the heavens and let out a blood-like cry. A demon soldier pierced through his body, but he did not move at all. He just directly killed a few god fiends with him. The violet gold continent's 100 races are at fault. In the ancient times, we should not have turned a blind eye to the demon race's rebellion in order to preserve our strength. Today, we will use our flesh and blood to resist the god fiends. As long as the demon race can help the violet gold continent, we, the winged men, are willing to use our flesh and blood to be the vanguard and the barrier for the demon race. We only ask for your majesty's forgiveness. An expert of the winged men clan shouted. He was vomiting blood. His entire body was shattered like porcelain. He was almost smashed into pieces. He was still emitting a burning gaze, begging to the heavens. The departure of the demon race immediately plunged the entire continent into despair. There was no light. There was only endless despair. The only light was that the demon race, whose hearts had been completely broken, had the ability to resist, to block this calamity for the entire world. We beg the demon race to return. Our race is willing to respect the demon race forever. We will never betray you. This oath can be witnessed by the heavens and earth. A sky fire expert made an oath before he died. He kowtowed to the myriad demon valley of the violet gold continent. Even though he was dead, he still had a tragic aura. Countless cultivators from various races who were about to die imitated him. They kowtowed to the southern barbarians. There was only an endless pleading look in his eyes. They were pleading with their lives. Pleading. They were unyielding, heroic souls who died in the battle against the fiend celestials. They were silently begging the demon race to participate in the battle and to suffer the pain of the ancient times. Rumble. Countless blood-colored clouds gathered in the sky above the violet gold continent. Countless drops of hot blood scattered to the heavens and earth like raindrops. There was a kind of poignant beauty, a kind of desolation, a kind of despair. The heavens and earth were moved. Haha, you're indeed a bunch of ants. You personally abandoned the demon race back then. Even if you beg now, the demon race won't care about you. So what if the demon race really comes out? We, the fiend celestials, have joined forces with the primordial god fiends. Even if the demon race appears in front of us, they can only bow their heads and accept their fate. If the demon race dares to come out, we will destroy the entire demon race. Isn't the demon emperor very arrogant? He still doesn't dare to show his face in front of our fiend celestial army. Countless fiend celestials laughed maniacally and slaughtered wantonly. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1280. Countless cultivators of the 100 races kowtowed to the southern barbarians and begged for forgiveness before they died, letting out cries that moved the heavens and earth and dimmed the sun and moon. They did this to give the purple gold continent a chance to turn things around, a glimmer of hope, and not be invaded by the demon gods and ultimately destroyed. They were begging for forgiveness with their last cries of life. Although the 100 races fought with their lives on the divine bridge of heaven and earth, they could not stop the advance of the demon god army. They were steadily pushed forward, leaving behind countless tragic corpses. Everyone in the Lingxiao demon court fell silent after witnessing this scene. Inside the palace, there was not a single sound. There was only the sound of suppressed breathing. Numerous pairs of eyes stared seriously at the tragic battlefield shown in the ancient mirror. Numerous corpses that had sacrificed their lives for the purple gold continent, spilling their blood, let out their final pleas with their final wishes. Even the hearts of the demons of iron and stone wavered slightly. Your Majesty, We will listen to you on what to do." The demons took a deep breath and looked at Di-Shirtion, who was sitting on the throne, and asked respectfully with solemn expressions. The human race retreated suddenly. Although they had fought against the demon god army and suffered heavy losses, and countless cultivators died, they suddenly merged with an immortal-grade divine artifact. I'm afraid that their strength has not suffered any fundamental loss. They might be scheming something now that they are retreating. If we go out and fight, the human race will use the same trick again and attack when we and the demon gods are both injured. Wouldn't our race be wronged? We have to be on guard. However, Your Majesty has to make the decision personally." Mengshi let out a long breath and said in a deep voice. There was no lack of reminder in her voice. Since the human race has retreated, they are like stray dogs. There is no need to be too afraid. There will be plenty of opportunities to deal with them. If they want to use the same trick again, they will only be annihilated. Di-Shirtion's body was full of Emperor's aura. Every word he said was like a heavy mountain pressing down on him. His eyes were unusually deep as he said decisively, "Let's not plead for the 100 races. Our demon race has only been in seclusion for hundreds of thousands of years, and these demon gods have already dared to look down on our demon race. This is intolerable. Pass down this emperor's decree. All the troops of the demon court do not hide. Let's go out and fight. This emperor will decide everything in one battle. Let the chaos know the prosperity of our demon race." Boom! As his voice fell, the sky above the demon court shook violently and roared. Purple chi came from east. As Sakura spoke, a noble scroll condensed out of thin air and fell into Mengshi's hand. Mengshi raised her hands respectfully and quickly turned to leave. On the purple gold continent, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void, and strange phenomena appeared one after another. The vast soaring firmament demon court appeared out of thin air. A monstrous aura swept across the divine bridge of heaven and earth like an avalanche. In an instant, the arrogance of the entire demon god army was suppressed. They were stunned. The demon court. It's the demon emperor. The demon emperor heard our pleas. Is he prepared to help us resist the demon gods? That's great. If the demon emperor is willing to help, our purple gold continent will finally be saved. Our race can continue to live, and the purple gold continent can continue to exist. Brothers kill. We will be the vanguard of the demon race and make up for our mistakes in the ancient times. We are not cowards. We will open a path for the demon race. Many cultivators who were shrouded in despair suddenly had hope burning in their eyes when they saw the demon court appear. They shouted excitedly. Their exhausted bodies were suddenly filled with boundless energy. On the demon court, Di-Shirtion and his ministers appeared in the void. Mengshi held the emperor's edict in her hand. Naturally, her body was shrouded in an awe-inspiring military aura. She ordered, "His Majesty has ordered all armies to fight." Where are the 5 armies? 5 armies, listen up. Boom! Boom! With orderly steps, 5 battle formations wearing armor of different colors suddenly appeared in front of the southern heaven gate. They were all emitting the same fierce aura. Today's battle will show our demon race's might. Mengshi said seriously. Fight! 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 Show our demon race's might. Show our demon race's might. The 5 armies shouted in a deafening voice. Their eyes were filled with endless battle intent. Every 9 warriors formed a group. With heavy steps, they stepped straight onto the divine bridge of heaven and earth. The auras of the 9 warriors were connected. Above their heads, a gigantic azure dragon, a blazing vermilion bird, a black tortoise with unparalleled defense, and so on. The silhouettes of the 5 divine beasts emitted a terrifying pressure. Each of them had a pressure that was not in the slightest bit inferior to Qin Wentian. There were 9 million warriors in each army, and a total of 1 million divine beasts were formed. Their combat strength gathered together and exploded with a monstrous destructive power. Roar! Roar! The roars of the divine beasts soared into the sky. They naturally exuded a kind of spirit that could overturn the world. When the cultivators saw this scene, They only felt their hearts tremble. It was as if it was not an army that was walking over, but a powerful ancient demon god. That kind of power was more extraordinary than the previous human armies. It was majestic and unstoppable. The demon race. This is the strength of the demon race. The demon emperor is indeed so powerful. He can make the demon race so powerful in such a short time. With such a powerful army, there is no need to worry about the demon gods. Ha! There's hope for our purple gold mainland. The demon race is finally moved by us. Good, good. Demon bastards. Now that the demon race is here, let's see how arrogant you can be. The warriors roared in ecstasy. However, once the demon race attacked, it would not be just one army. This time, Tion did not have the intention to enter the battlefield one by one. What he wanted to do was to directly sweep the demon gods with his tyrannical strength in one go and compete with the demon gods. He vowed to take revenge for the ancient blood enmity. Tion Fa army to the battle. One after another, cold warriors stepped out. Each one of them was filled with cold, killing intent. It was as if they were the most supreme, heavenly punishment in the world. Any enemy would be judged by the heavenly punishment. The entire Tion Fa army directly set up the 8 Gates Heavenlock array. The entire army joined together and charged toward the demon gods like a terrifying giant beast. Blood Massacre army to the battle. Kill, kill, kill. Amidst the sounds of killing, a huge vortex appeared in the void. A blood-colored warship crossed the void. In the vortex, a completely different world could be faintly seen. Countless Blood Massacre guards, full of killing intent, stood coldly on the warship. Each one of them had directly crossed over to the Earth stage and was promoted to an ancient heaven demon. The original Blood Massacre generals had all broken through to the heaven stage. The tragic killing intent on their bodies was enough to break through the dome of heaven. In the warship, one could clearly see that there were countless demon gods' cold corpses piled up inside. It seemed to be a naked declaration of war. Bang, bang, bang. In the Blood Massacre warship, the cold battle cannons roared. Streaks of blood-colored cannons smashed into the demon god army. Countless streaks of blood-colored light shot in all directions. The destructive power crushed all the demon gods within the range of the blood-colored light into dust. The terrifying killing intent penetrated the boundaries of heaven and earth. It directly descended on the heads of countless demon gods. These demon gods could not help but have the illusion that their scalps were going numb and exploding. They could smell the thick scent of death. The moment the 5 armies, the Heavenly Punishment Army and the Blood Massacre Army appeared, the invincible aura was directly revealed. Humph. Demon race, it's fine if you don't interfere. But since you've interfered today, I'll cripple your demon race once again. This little bit of strength is nothing in the eyes of the demon god army. How can a mere demon race block our demon god army? Let's see if you can still be awe-inspiring after we destroy your demon race today. Many upper-class demon god clans roared. The Star Elves clan, the Demon Soldiers clan, the Dragon Demons clan, the Blood Demons clan, the Fallen Demon God clan, and so on. Countless upper-class demon god clans roared and boosted the morale of the entire demon god army. Death God Army Battle. Rumble. At Mungshi's shout, an army in black robes suddenly stepped out of the vortex in the void. Every one of them exuded a chilling aura, as though they were death gods who had crawled out of the underworld. Without a trace of sound, each of them held a black death scythe in their hands. They shone with a dim light. Every one of them exuded a powerful aura that was not inferior to any of the ancient heavenly demons. This aura was exuded from their physical bodies. It was as though every one of them was an ancient, ferocious beast. There were a total of 60 million of them in the Death God army. Their aura was so strong that it was not inferior to any of the previous armies. Death God, Your Majesty, you've already subdued the death gods in the land of exile and gathered countless half-demons to create such a powerful death god army. Treasure Boy's eyes were filled with surprise as he asked D, Shirtion respectfully. Ancient demon army, battle. However, Mengshi did not stop. She opened her mouth and spoke again. Rumble. In the vortex, there was a terrifying roar, and waves of dense demonic chi almost invaded the entire void. Among the demonic chi, there was an ancient demonic song. Heaven and earth gave birth to us. The majestic mountains are my backbone. The endless rivers are my blood. The vast sky is my will. The demon gods are unable to cut off our backbone. Let go of our hot blood and destroy our will. The ancient heroic spirits have penetrated my body and stepped out of the abyss of death, only to fight the demon gods again and sacrifice the ancient heroic spirits. The ancient battle song exuded a desolate and tragic aura. An army with endless vicissitudes of life and battle intent walked over from the land of exile. It was as though they had traveled through time and space. They had returned to the battlefield from the ancient era. This was an ancient demon army that had returned with endless battle intent of the ancient demon clan. That tragic, murderous aura and hatred for the demon gods were unmatched by any other race. There are millions of ancient demons. Almost all of the ancient demon clan's experts have fallen. How can you be resurrected? A fiend god questioned with a deafening voice. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1281. Brothers, pay more attention to the weather to avoid catching a cold. I accidentally caught a cold. My throat is dry and I can't stop coughing. It's so uncomfortable. How could the aura of the ancient demon army escape the eyes of the demon god? He could tell at a glance that they were definitely demon clan experts who had survived since the ancient times. However, these experts did not fall during the ancient times. It was simply an extremely strange thing. If they had not fallen, with the power of these tens of millions of demon clan experts, how could they have watched the human clan rebel? They could have killed the human clan in the ancient times with just a finger. It would not have caused the demon clan to decline for countless years. It would have allowed the human clan to grow to such an extent. The blood altar. What a great demon race. What a great investment. He actually used the blood altar to help these old things that have been buried in the ancient times reforge their bodies. How many lives does he want to slaughter? I'm afraid that all of my clansmen in the land of exile have already been slaughtered. He has helped these old farts. The ancestor of the celestial elf clan, the fairy goddess, said with a cold and arrogant face. These were all demon clan warriors from the ancient times. Even if they had just been reborn, they still possessed unimaginable strength. The appearance of the demon army brought great pressure to the entire celestial demon army. The demon clan's continuous display of strength had already exceeded the expectations of the celestial demon army. No one had expected that the demon clan's hidden strength was not much weaker than the human clan's. Moreover, each of the demon clan's legions was an elite army that had been through hundreds of battles. They could display incredible combat strength at any time. 12 Zodiac legions. Once again, 12 war flags were waving in the void. On the war flags, the 12 Zodiac legions could be seen clearly and vividly. The 12 legions also stepped out with high fighting spirit. For a moment, monstrous fighting spirit surged towards the heaven and earth bridge like a tide. Fight! 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 No matter how strong you demon god are, you have never seen the demon clan take half a step back. Kill! Several legions gathered at the same time and let out a monstrous battle cry. In the demon court, the sound of war drums that shook the void was directly transmitted to the ears of every demon clan member. It stimulated the blood in their bodies to boil. Their strength seemed to have increased by a large amount in an instant. The belief in their hearts was incomparably firm. That was to kill, 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 kill all demon gods. Rumble. The demonic army entered the battlefield and immediately clashed fiercely with the demonic gods. The 12 Zodiac formation instantly engulfed hundreds of millions of demonic gods and fought with the demonic gods in the formation. The 5 armies also unleashed an astonishing combat strength. The true bodies of the divine beasts blasted the heavenly demons into pieces on the spot. The battlefield became even more desperate. A terrifying demonic blade slashed down on one of the white tiger true bodies. The terrifying blade cheese shattered the white tiger true bodies on the spot. The 9 white tiger warriors' bodies also collapsed. The blue blood dyed the sky red. You demonic beasts might be able to defend against my demonic army, but you can't defend against my army of tens of thousands of unparalleled demonic emperors. This time, I, the demon god, will definitely occupy this violet gold mainland. The heaven-reverend Ancestor sneered in the middle of the supreme battlefield. He reached out and tore Supreme Expert into 2 halves. Even a corpse was sucked into the altar. Suppress and refine. This scene caused the great ability users of the purple gold continent to feel as if their insides were about to be torn apart. When the human race retreated, they fell into an overwhelming disadvantage on the battlefield. The difference in the ratio between the 2 sides was unimaginable. The entire army of the unparalleled demonic emperors seemed like they were about to leave for the violet gold mainland. Ignorant, Tion only glanced at the heaven-reverend Ancestor calmly and made a short comment. His gaze fell on the southern barbarian lands as he slowly said, "Star Battle Island, it's time for you to come into being. My demonic beasts, are you ready to continue the unfinished battle of the ancient times? Activate." That one sentence naturally revealed the supreme emperor's aura that ruled the world. It quickly spread across the world. Rumble. The entire southern barbarian lands suddenly trembled violently and let out a loud roar. Under the ground, a terrifying beast was awakening. Swish, swish, swish. From the star space, countless rays of starlight fell from the sky and fell on the entire southern barbarian lands. The southern barbarian lands was shrouded in starlight. Within the starlight, one could see a huge island emerging from the ground out of thin air. This was the Astral Battle Island. At a glance, it was indeed a peerless battle island formed by the convergence of countless stars. In each star, there were star crystals that could continuously emit vast star power. Now that they had gathered together, the star power in the entire battle island was so dense that it was almost like liquid. Every breath was absorbing a large amount of star power. In such an illusion, even if one did not cultivate, one's cultivation could rapidly increase. In the sky above the battle island, one could clearly see that strange star battle flags were constantly swaying, constantly swallowing star power. On the battle island, demon clan soldiers wearing powerful battle armors and exuding a chilling aura stood around like statues. They were arranged in neat rows. The demon clan army of tens of millions stood proudly with cold battle intent. It was still the same as in the ancient times. Among them, there were no less than 30,000 ancient demon gods, each of them exuding their own unique Tao rhymes. Blazing divine light shot out from their eyes, sweeping towards the unparalleled demonic emperors in the void. Then, they looked at Tion, who was sitting in the demon court. After a moment of silence, they bowed respectfully and said, "Greetings to the demon emperor. Thank you, your majesty, for your help in the ancient times. Today, we have returned to fight the demon god to the death. If we can return alive, we will serve your majesty for the rest of our lives." The backup plan that Tion had set up in the ancient times had finally taken root and sprouted, growing strong fruits and receiving rich returns. Of the tens of millions of elite demon clan soldiers who entered the island back then, after hundreds of thousands of years, there were tens of thousands of ancient demon gods who had become ancient demon gods. It could be said to be the most solid foundation for the demon clan. I don't want to see these demon emperors continue to live. Tion nodded and said with a dignified face, "Demon bastards, you didn't kill your grandpa demon god in the ancient times. Today, it's your turn to die. How can the demon clan be humiliated so easily? Kill." Many ancient demon gods let out deafening roars as they stepped out of the astral battle island and headed toward the void battleground fearlessly. The anger and hatred in their bodies reached a peak in an instant. Tens of millions of soldiers followed closely behind and charged into the divine bridge of heaven and earth. One trump card after another was revealed without any concealment. If he had taken them out one by one at a time, perhaps it would not have been too shocking. However, at this moment, they were all taken out at the same time. The shock it brought was hard to imagine. The appearance of the last astral battle island in particular caused the minds of every cultivator, and even the demon gods, to churn with terrifying waves of shock. Good. What a terrifying foundation. Is this the true strength of the demon clan? It's too terrifying. There are so many ancient heavenly demons and over 30,000 ancient demon gods. This kind of strength is enough to sweep through the heavens. I can't believe the demon emperor has such a trump card in his hands. Humans? The strength of the human race was like a clown in front of the trump cards of the demon race. This was the true strength of an overlord of the world. How could the demon clan have accumulated such inconceivable strength? Let's see if the demon gods can still be so arrogant now that the demon gods have made their move. The demon gods have tens of thousands of demon emperors, and the demon gods have tens of thousands of demon gods. When has our violet gold continent ever been inferior to your demon god continent? Haha, let's see how the demon gods laugh this time. Brothers of the demon clan, let me be your vanguard. I'll be the vanguard. Fight. Countless warriors from various clans burst into joyful laughter. The more powerful the demon clan was, the greater the chances of the purple gold continent being preserved. How could they not laugh? How could they not be happy? Primogenitors of the demon clan, please resist the half-step demon ancestors of the demon gods. Sakura raised his eyes to the void and opened his mouth to say a sentence. Rumble. Immediately, 3 streams of condensed demonic aura broke through the air from different directions. Within the demonic aura, 3 majestic figures slowly appeared. Each of them had an ancient aura, and they came from the endless void by breaking through the vacuum. One of them exuded a terrifying pressure that was as heavy as a mountain. It was as though facing him was like facing a vast and immeasurable sacred mountain. One of them was like a torrential river that was endless. He exuded a mighty power that could nourish all living things and nurture billions of demon clan members. One could not tell how deep he was at a glance. He was like the source of countless rivers in the world. He was as good as water. The last one was a lady in a green palace dress. One could vaguely see an unusually demonic star on her body. Every single one of them walked over calmly, but they naturally made countless demons feel a sense of respect for them. It was as though they were facing their elders. They naturally had a kind of aura that could sweep through the world. Tian looked at the 3 primogenitors deeply and suddenly stood up. Roar, 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 roar. 9 primordial 9 dragons that were millions of feet long excitedly pulled the awe-inspiring celestial emperor war chariot and appeared in front of the southern heavenly gate. Tian moved and appeared on the war chariot. Clang, clang. The 2 war spears on the war chariot vibrated as though they were thirsty for battle, especially the demon slayer war spear, which exuded a desire. The judgment war spear was perfected by devouring the judgment paragon. Today, you are the demon slayer war spear. I will use the blood of a demon ancestor to enhance your sharpness. Tian sat on the war chariot. The 7 sins demonic zither appeared in front of him out of nowhere. His 10 fingers calmly landed on the strings of the zither as he slowly said, "Since ancient times, emperors have been lonely. I will search the chaotic 90 continents and ask who can listen to me." When the 7 sins heaven and earth move, ghosts cry and gods howl, the sun and moon startle. When the heavenly music moves, desires will be aroused. 10,000 tribulations will appear. His voice carried the arrogance of an emperor and the loneliness of a paragon. It fluttered and floated into the chaos. Rumble. The 9 dragons pulled the celestial emperor war chariot across the void. It did not linger on the battlefield below and headed into the chaos. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.